Hello again, everybody. David Clary live here at Bobby Hopkins Field, getting set for Oak Ridge High School baseball. The Wildcats playing their very first district game of the 2024 season. They're taking on the Karns Beavers. And a chilly day here, especially for the Wildcats, who have been at the beach for the last week down in Alabama, where they went 2-2. The Wildcats come into this game with a 2-2-1 record. That one tie coming in the opening ball game against the Gibbs High Eagles last week, actually 2 weeks ago, before they went to Gulf Shores, Alabama. Here's the starting lineups. First off, for the visiting Karns Beavers, leading things off and playing left field will be Ben Stiles. Batting second will be the shortstop, Connor Clark. Batting third will be the first baseman, Thomas Butler. Batting fourth will be the right fielder, Gil Burnett. Sorry about that. Batting fifth will be the center fielder. That'll be Miles Broderick Dials. I apologize for that. I'll get that in a moment. You wrote it right, Garrett. I just don't have good eyes. Batting sixth will be Owen Barnett. He'll be playing second base. The catcher tonight will be Isaac Schmidt. The designated hitter will be Braden Harness. He will be hitting for the pitcher, Bryce Egan, I believe. And the ninth hitter will be Connor Birchfield. He'll be playing third base for the Wildcats. For Oak Ridge, leading things off will be the senior, Caden Black. Batting second will be the pitcher in tonight's game, Mikey Teasley. Batting third will be the designated hitter for the Wildcats. That'll be Peyton Witter. Batting fourth will be the catcher, Parker Free. Batting fifth will be the first baseman, Camden Welch. Batting sixth will be his brother, playing third base today. That'll be Kyron Welch. Then hitting in the right fielder will be Richie Ferreira. He'll be followed by Noah Wood, the second baseman. Warren East will be playing center field today. He's kind of moved down in the lineup just a bit. And Cam Britton is going to be the left fielder, I believe. Witter is going to be hitting for him today. Joining us on the broadcast for the first time, Garrett Giles, member of the Oak Ridge High School basketball team. Garrett, we've been on the air before. And basically on the television, your first attempt at baseball. Let's talk about your baseball knowledge as we get ready for this one. What do you know about baseball, and what do you know about the Oak Ridge Wildcat baseball team?
Honestly, not too much, to be honest. I've only watched very few baseball games in my entire life, so it'll be something new. I know that our baseball team is supposed to be pretty good this year, and I know a few of the players and how they're pretty good athletes, so I think it should be a pretty good game.
A couple things I'm going to ask you about. I was thinking about this as I was driving over, knowing you were going to be helping me. We have several transfers on this baseball team from different schools, and you being a transfer yourself, what I wanted to ask you was, what are the hardest things that a transfer student has to kind of adjust to coming from one school to another?
You always have your challenges just with a new school and all like the academics and everything, but also just getting under your coach, because every coach has a different play style.
You know, that's because I know we have a lot of people, but you told me, I guess, during basketball season, the Oak Ridge people embraced you pretty well. So you were immediately, part of the family. And I guess that's to me, that would be the hardest part of it, just going someplace where you don't know anybody. And I know you knew a few people when you came over here, but some of these guys didn't know a soul. Oh, and yeah. I would think that would be the hardest part of it. And, just trying to impress people. When you first started playing basketball, were you trying really hard to let everyone know that, hey, I can play, actually?
Oh, yeah, by far. Especially just certain things that I can do that other players can't do, like dunking. I tried to do that as much as possible.
You did a lot of dunking this year, considering you only dunked one time the whole season at Greenback, I think?
Yes. Well, maybe 2 or 3 now that I've looked back, but I've only had one that I could really remember.
I know this is a baseball game, but I'll ask you, what was your favorite dunk of the year? Which one was your favorite one?
It was definitely the one against Clinton on that one kid, just because, the atmosphere and the rivalry and everything behind it, it just kind of makes it different than any other dunk.
Well, let's talk about the rivalry. I know Clinton is a rival, and you've kind of picked up on that. As you go through here, Karns, obviously, our opponent tonight in the baseball game, they beat you one time during the year, and they beat us last year in the region tournament. As you look at the teams in our district, what would you consider to be Clinton's not in our district, kind of like it is in basketball, but what would you consider to be our rival?
Definitely. If I was going to say, it would probably be Karns, just because, every time we play them, there's something different about the atmosphere compared to any other game that we play. for certain sports, you could say schools like PAL and everything, but overall, I think Karns.
Vashawn Knowles is with us as well. Vashawn back for his second year of baseball. Vashawn, I know it seems like I was telling Garrett a minute ago that baseball is kind of like football in reverse. You start football when it's blazing hot and it ends up being cold. In baseball season, you start cold and it ends up blazing hot. Your thoughts about the baseball team? We went a long way last year. Your thoughts about this year coming into it with all these new guys?
Yeah, I think we have a pretty young team here, and I know that we'll be losing a pretty decent amount of seniors this year, but I think that this really has the potential to be a really good season for our baseball team, and especially Coach Free. He's a really good guy, really good coach. I think he can bring the best out of a lot of players, and again with the weather and stuff, like I was just saying earlier how cold it gets during baseball, but during the end of the season it does get pretty warm. So
Well, I remember that Campbell County game last year when we were up on their football press box, how cold it was.
it's freezing. I had a blanket and everything. I was still over there just shivering.
And what I remember most about it is our public address announcer, Coach James Branson, almost took one right in the face with a foul ball.
Went right by his head. He didn't even know.
We're a few minutes away from the start of this game, and the starting lineups are being introduced by Coach Branson. And we'll have the national anthem, then we'll have the first pitch of the ball game. You do know that Karns will be batting first, Garrett. Do you know that? Because they are the visitors?
I did not know that.
Wow. This is going to be a fun time educating you. So are you just a basketball guy? What other sports do you like?
I mean, when I grew up, I was always like a football kid. I was dreaming of football, but that's about where it ended.
Okay, was that off the whole time?
Thank you.
Okay, looks like we're about to have the national anthem. I'm going to turn the mic out in that way. We are on our YouTube channel, Prep Radio. The guy that you couldn't hear a moment ago is Garrett Giles. The other guy you couldn't hear is Vashawn Knowles. And they heard, okay, they just couldn't hear Garrett. Reason we turn down the microphones because, as I say all the time in our basketball and football and baseball games, and whatever sports we do, YouTube doesn't like when you play music. And they think that we're using it for commercial purposes, and they cut us off sometimes. So that's why we turn it off. Karns has already taken the field. They're going to line up on the first base line for the national anthem. The Oak Ridge starting lineups are being introduced. Caden Black, how many of these baseball guys do you know, Garrett?
I know a few of them. I know Caden for sure. I know Richie and a few of the other players. I don't know them by name, but I know their face really well.
Of course, you know John Ulrich. He did camera work for you.
Yes, I know John awful well.
Stuck the camera in your face quite a bit as I watched the footage, actually.
Yes.
But the Wildcats are going to be wearing their white pinstripes with Cardinal. Karns will be wearing their gray jerseys with blue, as you can see. Bashan's doing camera work. He's focused in on the Oak Ridge Wildcat dugout, which is to our left. The Wildcat dugout has been built up nicely in the last several years, as has the entire baseball complex here at Bobby Hopkins Field. And here in a moment, we'll have the national anthem. We're going to take a break. It's Oak Ridge and Karns live on our YouTube channel. We appreciate you watching our broadcast today. We'll be back for the national anthem and the first pitch, Oak Ridge and Karns, in a moment.
Slide up. Oh, okay.
Hey, Sean, show him how to do the scoreboard, too.
Number 8, Camden Britton. We ask at this time if you would please stand and remove your caps for the playing of our national anthem.
So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars rule the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming.
It's our national anthem here from Bobby Hopkins Field, live on our YouTube channel, Prep Radio, and we are about to get things underway here. The Wildcat pitcher will be Mikey Teasley. Mikey, sophomore player, started a lot, about every ball game last year at third base for the Wildcats. He played third for Oak Ridge and then hit some DH and was a pitcher. And he throws really hard. I mean, for a sophomore player, he's got some good stuff. And as you can see, he'll get it in there really quick, Garrett. And I know this is is this like your first baseball game ever?
It is. No, it's not my first baseball game. I mean, it's the first one that I'll probably have to pay attention to 100% of the time, really. But, I mean, it's definitely not my first one. I know very few things, but I know a little bit.
Well, that guy is the first baseman. That guy is
Yes.
yeah, just kidding.
Yes.
Karns about to step in. Leading off for them will be the left fielder. That'll be Ben Stiles. As we're about to get set from Bobby Hopkins, the two teams last year, the Wildcats, I think, just swept the Beavers last year in the district ball game. So Wildcats looking to do the same thing. Wildcats, as I mentioned before the national anthem, are 2-2-1. Very rarely do you see a tie nowadays in sports, but that's what happened at Gibbs. We got to the extra innings basically, and it was cold and it was rainy, and they just decided we're done, and it ended up a 2-2 tie. Then the Wildcats went down to Gulf Shores, Alabama, won their first two ball games there, and then dropped the last two against some of the better teams around. Boy, Mikey just threw one to the backstop, and a little cold here, and that's one thing, nothing against your sport, basketball, but you get to play inside where it's nice, warm, and toasty all the time, while Vashon had to play football out in the hot and cold, and you play basketball where it's nice.
Sometimes it's nice. There's sometimes where schools don't use their AC, and that can be a pain, but it's nothing compared to playing in freezing cold weather by far.
Yeah, and it's really not super cold. It's just the wind's whipping in here, and we're outside, and it's baseball time in Oak Ridge, home opener for the Wildcats, and we're about to have the first pitch of the home season here. Mikey Teasley has the sign from the Wildcat catcher, Parker Free, sophomore to freshman, and there's a called strike on the outside half of the plate. Nice velocity there by Mikey Teasley. Mikey's sporting some very colorful shoes today. Working from the stretch, the right-hander comes to the plate, the one-strike pitch. There's another one. He comes in a little bit lower that time, right at the knees, and as you can see, Garrett, he throws it hard.
He can throw it. He can really throw the baseball.
Looking for a three-pitch strikeout here as Stiles steps back in. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Hit foul at the plate, and the count remains at no balls and two strikes. Travis Free is the head coach of the Oak Ridge High School Wildcats. He's assisted by, well, he's got several assistants now. I don't want to start naming off the names. Might forget somebody. I know that Will Maddox and Ben Peters have been with him a while. Got a new pitching coach. We'll talk about that in a moment. Here's the two-strike pitch, a little outside. Just a little bit outside the plate and right at knee level. And the count remains at 0-2. Nobody aboard, nobody out here in the top of the first inning. Two-strike pitch hit on the ground, foul. Up towards the Karns coaching staff, and he slings it back into Mikey. One of the fun things about this ball game is I'm going to be teaching Garrett how to do this book, which will be kind of fun, kind of interesting. Maybe Coach Branson will help a little bit. I doubt it. 0-2 pitch, a little bit high. Actually, pitches ball two balls and two strikes. Wildcats will play Karns again tomorrow. That game will be at Karns. 5:30 ball game. 2-2 pitch, cut on and miss. He's going to have to throw him out, and Parker throws down to first, and in time for out number one. And right there, you will write down a K.
Okay.
A K, just like the letter K, right there in the box there. So,
Hold on to that.
yeah, one out here in the top of the first inning. So we broadcast here on our YouTube channel. Mikey has the sign from Parker. I'll set the infield for you in a moment. Pitch is hit at foul. Back out of play over the top of us. Camden Welch is the first baseman for the Wildcats. Playing second today is Noah Wood. The shortstop is Caden Black. Third base is Kyron Welch. Camden Britton is in left field. Wildcats have Warren East in center and Richie Ferreira in right. Pitch is hit on the ground, foul again. And once again, Mikey ahead in the count, no balls and 2 strikes. Connor Clark steps back in. He's playing shortstop for the Wildcats. 2-strike pitch. Almost hit him inside. So in basketball, there's some, you get fouled a little bit, but how would you like to be hit by that?
I don't think I like to be hit at all by baseball, especially at the speed that they can throw on.
Yeah, well, I'll get the speed from our speed gun here in a second. But you're exactly right. I mean, baseball is hard too. It's not.
Oh, yeah.
So, and especially it's cold too. Today would be the absolute worst day to be hit by a Mikey Teasley fastball.
Yes.
1 ball, 2 strikes. 1-2 pitch. Almost hit him again.
Almost hit him again.
High and inside, evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. We have nobody out. Nobody on, 1 out. Sean doing camera work. Always good to have Sean. Just got back from the beach today. Had a good time. Went right to work.
Now he's freezing cold.
Right. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Mikey has the sign. 2-2 pitch. Cut on a missed. That's another strikeout. And that's strikeout number 2, and that's out number 2 here in the first inning.
Put a K.
Better now will be the first baseman for them. That'll be Thomas Butler. Butler is a right-handed hitter facing the right-handed throwing Teasley. Mikey threw 1 game down in Gulf Shores, pitched well in that one. The Wildcat pitchers were absolutely fantastic down in Alabama. First pitch is low. Might have overthrown that one just a bit. And the count is 1-0. Pitchers, I think what really kind of caught my attention was the bats were a little slow to come around down in Alabama, facing some really good opponents for sure. And hopefully the home field advantage will help him here. Here's Mikey's pitch. It's inside. 2 balls and no strikes. Parker is the catcher. Parker Free. He's the son of the head coach of the Wildcats, Travis Free. 2 balls and no strikes. He gives the sign to Mikey, and that pitch is down low. 3 balls and no strikes. As I look out there, it's a beautiful day. It's kind of like light, fluffy clouds floating over Bobby Hopkins. Blue sky behind that. Obviously, the trees are getting ready to bud a little bit. The grass is nice and green, that's for sure. 3 balls, no strikes. Sophomore comes to the plate. That one's a called strike at the belt. Might have been a little bit high there. Let me tell you what the strike zone is. The strike zone is between the belt and the knees.
Okay.
And that's basically what they call it. It has to be obviously across the plate, and you know that part of it. So that looked a little high, honestly.
It did look a little high.
3 balls and 1 strike. The pitch. That one's called strike at the knees, and he's worked his way to a full count now. 3 balls and 2 strikes. He struck out the first 2 batters he faced in the top of the first inning, trying to retire the side in order with nothing but K's on the score sheet. Butler stands back in, working from the stretch. Teasley comes in with a 3-2 pitch. Here it is. Inside, that's ball 4, and down to first will go Butler. And just draw a line to first, and that would be a BB. You're right. You might want to circle it up there. It might be on the score sheet, or you can just write it in. That means base on balls.
Okay.
Yeah, so that means he walks, basically.
Yeah, he walks. Okay.
Yeah. He knows baseball. He just doesn't know the writing down of the score sheet, actually. Right, James?
I don't even know that.
Right-handed hitter steps in. That'll be Burnett. And he plays right field. That pitch is a called strike. Kind of has no balls and 1 strike. It is a cool day here at Bobby Hopkins. First base runner of the day. 2-out walk. He takes a short lead off of first. From the stretch, and runner not going. Pitch is low and inside. That evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. 1 on, 2 outs. We're in the top of the first inning. Prep Radio. Tomorrow, Oak Ridge plays Karns again. The Wildcats are off Wednesday. So one thing about baseball season, Garrett, there's a lot of baseball games in a short period of time because you're all out of school.
Oh, yeah.
Before you know it, little big leaguer lead, and he's going to go. The ball's hit on the ground. Fielded by Noah Wood. He's going to throw on the Welch in time for out number 3. Kind of a hit and run, but it went right to Noah's glove, and that is out number 3. So we go to the bottom half of the first inning. We have a scoreless game. It's Oak Ridge and Karns. We'll be back to Bobby Hopkins in a moment. Welcome back once again to Bobby Hopkins Field, side of the Oak Ridge High School season opener at home. The Wildcats taking on the Karns Beavers, and we go to the bottom half of the first inning, and the batter will be the senior, the 4-year starter at shortstop for the Wildcats, Caden Black. Caden has several school records, including stolen bases, runs scored. I mean, he's just been an outstanding player for the Wildcats. He'll be playing college ball next year. First pitch to him is a ball. And I was kind of wondering about that, and I haven't gotten a chance to talk to Coach Shafree, but in the first, 5 ball games, Caden, who's traditionally has been the leadoff guy, but he did not hit first in the first 5 ball games, but his whole career, that's what he's done. He hits one deep to right field, the right fielder back on it, and he can't make the play. It's over his head. Here comes Caden heading towards second, and he gets the stop sign there. It'll be a leadoff double. When he hit the ball, I thought he was going to go over the right fielder's head. He just kind of nonchalantly went back on it, and then it went tossed over his head. Good start for the Wildcats.
Oh, yeah.
Taking the second.
Taking 2B. Perfect.
So the Wildcats will have a runner in scoring position. A great start for the Wildcats. And here comes Mikey Teasley. Step in for the Wildcats. Right-handed hitter. He got all of that one, Garrett Giles.
Oh, yeah, by far. He's made the hit look very nonchalant, really.
Yeah, and the right fielder just kind of drifted back, and he went over his head. They put in a little pickoff play. The second baseman comes in. That pitch goes all the way back to the screen, and that's going to easily allow Caden to move over to third base. The Wildcats have a runner at third with nobody out. That would be a wild pitch. Take him to third and put WP. Yeah. As Mikey with a chance to knock in the first run of the ball game. Right-handed pitcher, right-handed hitter. 1-0 pitch. He almost hit him. He did hit him. Backs us away, and that's going to be another run for the Wildcats. Oak Ridge. And that's one of the good things. Nothing against the way the Wildcat lineup had been in the first 5 ball games, but Caden just does things like that. You get him on base, typically, if it's just a single, he's going to steal second, and somehow he's going to get to third, and he scores the first run. And that's the Wildcats just kind of manufactured a run. We got a little help there from the pitcher, throwing a couple wild ones as Mikey takes another one high and inside, and he's got a 3-ball no strike count on him.
Again.
3-0 pitch on the inside corner for a called strike, and count is now 3 balls and 1 strike. Got a kind of a small crowd here. It is cold, and the students are not in school, and we usually have more students. There's Elijah. Oh, nice play,
Wow, nice
by
play.
the third baseman. Ball was hit right on the button. Nice play, Garrett, by the third baseman.
Very nice play.
That would be an F3, or F5, sorry.
F5, okay.
Yeah, and that's out number 1. But the good news is the ball was hit right on the nose.
Yes, it did. I don't know how he caught it with the ball coming at him that fast.
I think he was surprised himself. He actually looked in his gloves. Yeah, I did catch that, but nice play by the third baseman for the Karns Beavers. Now standing in for the Wildcats will be the designated hitter. This was Peyton Witter, and Peyton had, I think, a really good road trip to Gulf Shores. Good breaking pitch there, and it's a called strike. No balls and 1 strike. He'll play a little first base, especially when Camden Welch is pitching. He's transferred from Kingston. That pitch is just a bit high above the belt, maybe a little outside, and the count is even at 1 ball and 1 strike. You know, Peyton?
I don't think so. I have not really got the chance to meet a lot of our newer players yet.
Yeah. He's a right-handed hitter. 1 ball, 1 strike. Breaking pitch, stays outside. That was a curveball. You could see that really
See the
break
curve.
big time. So just a little bit outside. The count is 2 balls and 1 strike. Is it working now? Okay. 2-1 pitch. That's a called strike right at the belt. And it evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. We have 1 out here, 1 run in. A leadoff double by Caden Black came around to score on a couple wild pitches, and Oak Ridge leads Karns 1-0. 2-2 pitch, way up high. Full count now, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Bashan loves baseball. I'm telling you, he loves being out in the cold. 3-2 pitch. Hit on the ground. That's a base hit inside the bag at third. Rounding first is Witter. He's heading towards second. It's going to be a bang-bang play. Here's the throw, and he is just there in time for a double. I mean, I thought at first he wasn't going to make it, but really nice play by the left fielder. Got it in, and that's a second double of the inning for the Wildcats. That ball just inside the bag there at third base.
Right on the line. It's almost a perfect hit.
As the Wildcats step in now, batting from the right side. Parker Free, right-handed hitting freshman, catcher for the Wildcats. He'll play a little infield for the Wildcats as well. Pitch to him is up high, a ball. 1-0 our score as we play here in the bottom of the first inning. Mikey Teasley had a really good first inning. Struck out a couple batters in that one. Gave up a walk, and that was it. 1-0 pitch, high again. 2 balls and no strikes. Peyton is a junior. He's in your class there, Garrett, down at second base. Parker back in. 2 balls, no strikes. Checks the runner back at second. And the pitch. Hit in the air, right side. Right fielder has trouble seeing it. It's going to drop, I think, and it is just
Right
fair.
on the line.
Fair ball for the Wildcats. Right fielder had trouble seeing it, and the ball just fell inside the line, and that'll be a double, too. That's 3 doubles in the first inning here. Ball just barely inside the chalk there, and you couldn't have placed it any better than that one.
2 times in a row, actually. 2 plays in a row where it went right on the line.
Better now will be another sophomore member of the Wildcats. This will be Camden Welch. Camden is
Number 10. On their team?
Yeah.
Bryce Egan.
Izzy's team. Okay. Wildcats. Camden steps in. Izzy Mitchell is in as a runner now for the Wildcats. That pitch floats outside, 1 ball and no strikes. Izzy will play a little outfield for the Wildcats. Play a lot of outfield, honestly, this season. He was a starter a year ago. He's running now at second for the catcher, Parker Free. Witter is the base runner at third. 1 run in. The Wildcats have a couple in scoring position. Pitch to Camden is at the belt, in there for a called strike, and that evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Cam steps back in. Left-hander. Cocks the bat. Pitcher checks the runners and the pitch. Hit foul off towards the parking lot. How far away? One thing I should have told you this, Garrett. How far away from the field did you park?
Definitely far away just to hope that my truck don't get hit by a baseball.
And that happens quite frequently. We always kind of boom, and then
You just hear the loud thud.
Yeah.
I've been the last few baseball games I've been to. That's happened every single time.
Ball's hit on the ground. It's going to get a run in.
Oh,
Second baseman fumbles it. He's commits an error, and the Wildcats are going to try to score again. Coming home, Izzy, and he called him out, and that'll be out number 2. Izzy really just kept on going around third, and I see Coach Priest said that's on me, but it is another run. The Wildcats do score another run. It's now 2-0, and the Wildcats will have Kyron Welch stepping in. Wildcats making good contact. Ball was hit right to the second baseman, and he just couldn't pick it up.
that's really in our favor, to be honest. Another error for them to have.
2 outs now. Wildcats have put 2 on the board. Cam takes his lead off of first. Kyron steps in. Kyron's a senior. For the Wildcats, he'll play catcher. He'll play third. He'll pitch a little bit this year. First pitch is in there for a called strike. 2 outs here, 2 in for the Wildcats. Oak Ridge leads Karns 2-0. You know, Vashon, somebody who's been at almost every ball game is Will Presley. He's been at about every one of our ball games. As that pitch is cut on and foul tipped at the plate. And I don't know if he likes baseball. Is he a baseball guy? Do you know, Vashon?
I'm not sure if Will's a baseball guy or not, but I know that he really supports the Wildcats sports.
He even went up to
general.
Gibbs. I mean, that's a long way. Well, not as far for him, really. But runner takes his lead off of first. 2 in, 2 outs. The pitch, it's up high. Runner's going to go. Kind of a delay, and he is out. Camden really didn't truck it down the base paths, but he has caught stealing for the 3rd out of the inning. But the Wildcats do put 2 on the board. Wildcats pick up 3 hits in the inning, and they leave nobody. We go to the 2nd inning. The Wildcats on top 2-0. We'll be back to Bobby Hopkins in a moment. Welcome back once again to Bobby Hopkins Field. The Wildcats take an early 2-0 lead in this first district ball game of the season. The Wildcats will play Karns again tomorrow. The Wildcats will play Garrett's favorite team, Bearden, later on this week. They'll also take on the Maryville Rebels. That pitch is hit foul back to over the top of the scoreboard. And press box, and the count is no balls and one strike. Did you hear what I said? I said Bearden's your favorite
Oh
team.
my goodness.
I didn't think you'd like that. I didn't think you caught it either. No balls and one strike. Mikey Teasley on the hill. And the one strike pitch is hit foul again. Off to the right side and out of play. Wildcat outfield looks like we've got Britton in left. The Wildcats in center field have Warren East. The right fielder is Richie Ferreira. No changes there. The Wildcats like to switch out their
That's right.
outfield sometimes. That pitch is cut on a miss, and there's another strikeout. That'll be strikeout number 3 for Mikey Teasley. And the batter now stepping in. Oh, I'm sorry. It'll be here. My fault. That was on me. Oh, yeah. Will be, let's see, Burnett, I believe. Right-handed hitter. Pitch is cut on and missed once again. The count is no balls and one strike. Garrett is learning to do my tweets, which is not my favorite thing to do in the world. Obviously, I hand my phone off when I'm trying to broadcast, as that pitch is a called strike. I had to think about that one. That pitch looked a little low and outside, but we'll take it as it goes favorable towards the home team. Thank you. 0-2 pitch, hit on the ground. 2 hops to the third baseman, Kyron Welch. He fields it, throws on the first. Oh, good throw, just not dug out. It was a low throw, and Camden couldn't dig it out, and he reaches base safely. So that'll be a one-out base runner for the Karns Beavers.
Number 11, Isaac Schmidt.
Who's the next batter here for the Karns Beavers?
Isaac
Schmidt.
Yeah, Schmidt.
Put that in the second inning. See that? Yeah. Second inning in this column.
Oh, my bad.
Runner at first. 1 out. Wildcats on top of Karns 2-0. Throw over to first, and he is out. Wildcats pick him off. He was leaning towards second, and Mikey just picked him off. And a great play. He allow his teammates allow a base runner, and then he just promptly picks him off, and that is out number 2. It would be P-O-1-3. Pitch to the plate is a called strike. The count is 0-1. So what's he throwing right now, velocity-wise? Oh, wow. Ball is hit on the ground. 2 hops to Caden Black behind the bag at second. Throws on to first in time for out number 3. Nice play by Caden. And the Wildcats retire the Beavers. After giving up an error, the Wildcats leave nobody, Karns leaves nobody stranded. We go to the bottom of the second inning. The Wildcats in the lead, 2-0. We're live here on our YouTube channel, Prep Radio, and we'll be back in a moment. Welcome back once again to Bobby Hopkins Field. The Wildcats of Oak Ridge on top of Karns 2-0. Wildcats scoring 2 runs in the first. Mikey Teasley throwing in the low 90s, and that's just, phenomenal for a high school sophomore for sure.
Very
And
impressive.
I mean, 90 miles an hour.
It's just, wow.
Yeah. 1 ball, no strikes. Kyron was at bat in the first inning when the Wildcats got caught stealing. That pitch is a little bit low and outside, and the count is now 2 balls and no strikes. Looks like Brennan Scott in the house here today over by the Oak Ridge dugout, one of your teammates there, Garrett. Good to see him.
Oh, yeah, by far. Always good to see B. Scott.
Pitch is cut on and missed, and the count is 2 balls and 1 strike. Typically, Garrett, when the weather's a little bit better, this section to our right here is loaded with students, basically. But
Okay.
it's kind of cold,
It is very cold.
and you all are out of school. So,
So that's always going to cause a problem with fans.
right. 3 balls and 1 strike. Kyron back in for the Wildcats. The pitch is a called strike, and the count is full now. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
That was very close.
Richie Ferreira is on deck for the Wildcats. Richie's cold. You can see his face is covered up with, I could hardly see his face. I had to look at his number, honestly. That ball is ripped to left hard. It's going to drop in for a base hit. That ball was hit right on the nose by Kyron. He takes a wide turnaround first. Garrett, about every ball the Wildcats have hit today has been really hit hard.
Oh, yeah, by far. I mean, most of them have hit outside of the, I guess you'd say, the inside base area.
I mean, even the out to third base earlier was hit right on the button.
Oh, yeah.
Richie Ferreira steps in for the Wildcats. Hits from the left side. Short lead at first. Wildcats put 2 on the board in the first. Good start here in the second. Pitch is a breaking pitch inside, maybe a little low, and the count is 1 ball and no strikes. So the hardest part, if you don't really follow baseball, what has been the hardest part of thinking of things to say so far, Garrett?
Definitely just coming up with really anything to say. I mean, whenever a player hits a baseball, I mean, it's kind of, which to me, it kind of impressed me because knowing how I would play, I'd swing at everything that comes and goes. So just watching them be able to play at the level that they do.
Baseball is kind of similar to basketball in some ways, like shooting. Baseball is a repetition sport. You got to do it a lot.
Oh, yeah, by far.
And it's like shooting. I mean, you got to shoot a lot, and I know you're a gym rat, so you know what it's like to be in the gym all the time and shooting.
All the time.
Well, it's like them. They have to take a lot of pitches. They got to take a lot of ground balls, a lot of, fly balls. It's just repetition.
Bat breakers are probably one of their favorite places to be.
As that pitch is nasty pitch that time. He's got a really nasty breaking pitch.
Oh, yes, by far.
He doesn't have the advantage. Well, here comes Thomas Cox into the press box here. Left-hander. Richie back in. 1 ball, 2 strikes. You know Thomas?
I've met him before, yes. We've talked to each other.
Thomas is a good guy. Thomas holds some baseball records here at Oak Ridge High School. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
I don't want to embarrass him. He's got his son with him, so I don't want to fill his head up knowing his dad was such a superstar ball player back in the day. Not that he's really paying attention too much, but yes. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The pitch, it was so inside. It was outside as it almost hit him in the back.
I think he was almost prepared for it to hit him, too.
Yeah, Thomas, you won't believe this, but Garrett doesn't know anything at all about baseball.
No way. Fool me, Gary.
This is probably my 7th baseball game that I've been to in my entire life.
3 balls and 2 strikes. Short lead at first. 3-2 pitch. Hit well into center field, and that is going to go in and roll to the wall. Coming around second is Kyron Welch. It's going to go all the way to the fence. Here comes the Wildcats' 3rd run. The throw comes in. It's going to be a triple for Richie Ferreira. Kyron Welch comes in to score, and Richie has a triple. The ball just kept tailing away from the center fielder, and he tried to make a dive for it, and it got past him. And once it got past him, as you can see, it's 357 feet out to center field, and, there was no way he was going to get to it.
Oh, yeah.
The best thing, and he couldn't even really, get in front of it to block it. The ball was hit so hard.
And whenever the play happened, he dived on the ground, and he kind of just gave up after that.
And so the Wildcats have plated their third run of the ball game, and they've got a runner in scoring position at third with Richie Ferreira. And the batter now for the Wildcats,
Noah Wood.
Noah Wood,
Yes.
the
Noah Wood.
second baseman. Will Maddox, the first base coach, a little late getting to his position, or he went to the dugout. Runner at third is Richie Ferreira. Pitch to the plate. There's a called strike at the belt, right down the middle, and the count is 0-1. Noah back in. Right-handed hitting sophomore. Playing second base. Pitch to him is a breaking pitch and a nice one. And the count is 0-2. You saw the break on that
was
pitch.
A nasty pitch.
But everything else has been hit hard. But his breaking pitch has been really, really good.
He's caused a lot of strikes right off of his breaking pitch.
Yeah, but you can't throw it all the time, though, because a lot of times they hang.
Very true.
That,
very
like
true.
that one, but that one was outside the
Yes.
strike zone. I mean, because it looks like a beach ball coming when it's coming
Yes.
that slow. So, I mean, that was just a little bit outside. And the count is 1-2 strikes. Pitch to the play. There's another breaking pitch. That one stays outside. They say this, and I know different sports will say it's different, but they say hitting a baseball might be the hardest thing to do in sports. It's something a small projectile coming at you at 90 miles an hour.
I could probably agree with that after watching some of these pitches, knowing that I'd swing at them.
That pitch is a little bit high, and count is full again. 3-2 strikes. Wildcats have played another run. The triple by Richie Ferreira, plating Kyron Welch. It's 3-0 Oak Ridge. Noah back in. The pitch to him. 3-2 pitch. There's called strike 3. He knew it. On the outside half of the plate, and that is out number 1 here in the second inning.
The center fielder, number 14, Warren East.
Warren East is the batter now. He plays center field for the Wildcats. Like I said earlier in the year, he was the leadoff guy. I guess the first 5 ball games, but he's kind of moved down the order. He's a really good, solid hitter. I mean, he can hit the ball well, especially for a freshman. And he takes one down low, 1 ball and no strikes. One ball, no strikes. A little bit high, 2 balls and no strikes. Top of the order, and Caden Black on deck for the Wildcats. Right-handed hitter. 2-0 pitch. Hit well. Hit
Another
deep to
ball.
left field. Down the line. Just foul. Thought it might drop in there, but just foul. And the count is 2-1 strike.
Wildcats have been hitting a lot of bombs as of this entire game.
You know, they played some teams down in Gulf Shores that were some of the better teams. You know, they lost 2 ball games. You think, oh, God, they didn't play well. But you go against good competition. And I know that's Coach Green's philosophy of basketball. If you got to play good competition, you know, especially to get you ready for tournament time.
Yes.
We'll talk about that in a second. 2 balls and 1 strike. Runner at third. Pitch. Called a strike, although it was in the left-handed batter's box.
Oh, my goodness.
But he called it a strike. 2 balls and 2 strikes. He's been pretty good on his calls. That one I don't agree with, but, you know, we're up here, he's down there. And I never pick on officials ever. Hey, Lee. Pitches hit foul off to the left side. I've never picked on an official ever in my life. Never.
Never.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Right-handed hitter. Richie Ferreira is the base runner at third base for the Wildcats. Wildcats on top 3-0 as we bat here in the bottom of the second inning. 2-2 pitch, way outside, and the count is full again, 3 balls and 2 strikes. I think probably James is doing the pitch count over there. How many pitches? He's thrown a lot of pitches. Yeah, I was talking to you. Well, let me go on down to Peyton. How many pitches has he thrown? Oh, okay, got it. 3-2 pitch. That's outside corner for a called strike, and that it was not a strike,
Wow.
but that is how you write that. He struck out looking, so that is a backwards K. Yeah, that's how you tell the difference between a swinging strikeout and a looking strikeout.
Okay.
So Garrett's learned a couple things about scorekeeping.
Number 11, Caden Black.
Two outs here, runner at third, top of the order. Caden had a double to start the first inning, and the pitch to him floats up high. Count as 1 ball and no strikes. Caden 1 for 1 in the ball game. I think it's just more comfortable for him to hit in that leadoff position. He hasn't been hitting there this season, but he's back in familiar territory for him. Left-handed hitting senior, runner at third. Breaking pitch hit on the ground, foul. Past Coach Maddox, and the count is even at 1 ball and 1 strike. Caden's going to be playing college baseball next year. I know his grandfather, Ron Black Sr., watching our broadcast today. Hey, Ron, can't wait to see you out at the ballpark again when it gets warm. That's what your son said. He said you were staying inside because it's too cold. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pitch. Up high, 2 balls and 1 strike. Richie Ferreira had a triple earlier. He's still at third. Wildcats need a 2-out base hit from Caden. It is the top of the order. Pitch to him is a breaking pitch. Waited on it and then hit it foul off to the left side over the top of the Oak Ridge dugout. First home game for the Wildcats. The Wildcats played their first 5 ball games on the road before finally getting back home. The Wildcats will be at Karns tomorrow. That's kind of the unique thing they do with baseball. I'll tell you why they do that in a moment. We'll see what Caden does here on this 2-2 pitch. Almost hit him, and here comes a quick throw to third, and Richie wouldn't. The reason they do that is they play them back-to-back. So if you got a stud pitcher, say Mikey Teasley,
Yeah.
if you were to play Karns like on Friday or later on, they could pitch him again.
Yeah, give him a break.
But
yeah.
tomorrow, Mikey can't pitch, so you have to pitch another pitcher.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why they do that.
So it shows depth, really.
Yeah.
Okay.
That pitch is a little outside, and that's ball 4. Down the first will go Caden, so the Wildcats will have runners on the corners with 2 outs, and their batter will be Mikey Teasley.
Caden Black takes his base. Stepping in now for the
3-0 Wildcats
number
as we
3,
bat here in the first inning.
Teasley.
Mikey will step in.
Locked me out. That's what it said. I come back and the door shows up. Like, well, message received.
2 outs here. Runners out on the corners for the Wildcats. Chilly day here at Bobby Hopkins in the home opener for Oak Ridge. Caden draws the throw back to first. Caden is the all-time stolen base leader in Oak Ridge High School baseball history, at least in the modern day. They didn't. The earlier records from the the 40s and 50s and 60s don't actually exist, but the way Caden steals bases, I'm sure he's got that too because
It showed in the first time that he was on the bases.
and he's going. Doesn't even draw a throw because they were afraid that Richie would come home and score. So they might call that indifference, but I'm going to give him a stolen base on that. And so the Wildcats have 2 runners in scoring position. 2 outs here in the second inning. 3-0, the Wildcats in the lead. Mikey steps back in. 1 ball, no strikes. And a called strike at the knees on the outside half of the plate, and the count is even at 1 ball and 1 strike. Mikey is a sophomore, as I mentioned, plays a lot of third base for the Wildcats when he's not pitching. 1 ball, 1 strike, the pitch. Outside, ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike. So did you not even play baseball at all when you were growing up, like Little League ball?
No, I never played. I didn't really actually ever play sports until I was like in the 7th grade.
Well, that's what you told me before, but, which I couldn't believe. Thomas, one thing that we've got to get this guy settled with, I'm talking to Thomas Cox behind me as that pitch is outside. He is a Kentucky Wildcat basketball fan.
That's tough.
I mean, he's lived in Tennessee his whole life. How does that happen?
You know, I've been around Will Thompson a lot lately, so that's been revisited.
Yeah, Will Thompson's the same way. Why?
I mean-
Why? I'll ask you that in a minute. 3 balls, 1 strike. Pitch to the plate, hit on the ground towards the shortstop. It's going to be bang, bang. If Mikey can leg it out, he cannot. That is out number 3. Wildcats do pick up a base runner. They leave 2 stranded. We go to the top of the 3rd inning here at Bobby Hopkins Field. This first district ball game for the Wildcats. Oak Ridge on top of Karns, 3-0, and we'll be back to Bobby Hopkins in a moment. Welcome back once again to Bobby Hopkins. The Wildcats on top of the Beavers 3-0 as we go to the top half of the 3rd inning. Mikey Teasley has been very, very good. 3 strikeouts to his credit. Looks like the outfield remains the same, unless that is Izzy out and left. I can't tell. Mikey comes to the plate. Called strike. The count is 0-1. We're live on our YouTube channel, Prep Radio. We appreciate you watching our broadcast. I was telling them before the ball game, Garrett. Normally, like in basketball, we'll get a couple thousand viewers. Football will get 5,000 or 6,000. We had 1,000 people watching a baseball game the other day at the Gibbs, which it says something about the baseball program. It's up and coming. Wildcats went to the region tournament last year, and the region is a lot different than it is in basketball. The ball's hit foul over towards the Karns dugout. Only the top 2 teams go to the region.
Oh, wow.
And the top 2 teams that we had to play from the other district were Hardin Valley and Farragut, who played each other for the state championship last year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, they played each other for the state championship. So that pitch is hit foul once again. See you, Thomas.
I've always heard that Farragut baseball was really good.
State championship almost every year. They can lose like 7 or 8 games during the year. They get to the tournament and they just win.
Just become something else.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean they have a ton of titles over there. It's a beautiful field and everything about that program is first class, and that's what Coach Free is trying to do here. Our baseball at Oak Ridge High School hasn't been bad. It's been average basically. I mean, if you look at the other sports programs, we've never won a state championship in baseball, we have in about every other sport.
Yeah.
I mean, girls and guys, we have.
Yes.
But
yes.
baseball, we've only been to this. Last time we went to the state tournament was like in the early 70s.
Oh wow.
Yeah, which is, just not. We've just kind of had an average program, and a lot of that might be attributed to the feeder system here in Oak Ridge. It's definitely, they're trying to get it better, but they just don't have enough kids that play baseball around here. And like a lot of the younger people play in Knoxville leagues,
Yes.
and you know how that goes with travel
With
basketball.
basketball and baseball.
There's ball 4, so a good start for the Beavers here in the third. Leadoff walk here. And I'm proud of Garrett Giles. That's the guy helping me today. He is learning how to do this scorebook without me even telling him now. It's not hard, as you can see. Once you get the number part of it, it's kind of weird.
The number part of it's what's.
Because you'd think the first baseman would be 1,
Yes.
but it's not. The pitcher is 1, and you can kind of understand that.
Yeah.
It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Okay.
Yeah, I was pointing. You can't see me, but I was pointing to the fielders out in the field. Runner at first. Mikey working from the stretch, checks the runner. He's picked one off today. That pitch just a bit high, a little bit above the belt, and the count is 1-0. I was told a moment ago that he's hitting between 90 and 92 with his fastball. A lot of major leaguers don't throw that hard.
And for him
Garrett,
just
I
to
mean,
be-
that's so,
And he's just a sophomore.
Right.
Wow.
One of the top prospects in the state. Timeout is asked for by the batter. Where are we? Who is batting for the Beavers?
Connor Birchfield, number 2.
Runner at first. Nobody out. Hello. Always love when our photographers are here. That pitch is a called strike right down the middle, and the count is 1 ball and 1 strike. I wonder what kind of a baseball fan Brennan is. I mean, I think I've seen him at baseball games before, but he's standing over there by the dugout.
I think he's all in on basically just Wildcat sports, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true. His dad was a graduate here, played ball. And runner's going. The pitch is down low. That's a ball, and that's going to be a stolen base there for the Beavers. And they have a runner in scoring position with nobody out and a 2 ball, 1 strike count. So, Garrett, what is the prospects for Oak Ridge High School basketball next year?
Just like our team overall.
Yeah.
We're bringing back all of our juniors. I mean, 4 of our 5 starters actually, and then we have some up-and-coming freshmen who should be pretty good. Which one of them's Coach Green's son too, and we also have like Charlie Taubenheim and just a sophomore and freshman class that are really good. We have Malik Howard, so it should be a pretty good season.
You have any transfers we're going to try to get in here? You need to work on that.
Oh yeah, by far. I mean, there's been a few kids that we're looking at here and there. We have a kid that's actually homeschooled who's thinking about coming to school here next year.
Okay.
And then we have heard of a few kids from Farragut thinking about it as well.
Pitch is a called strike. A little slow on the right arm there, but it is a strike, and the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. 3-0 is our score. Sean doing camera work for us, doing occasional color work here. I think he's cold or sick. He's typically sick.
Being sick is a mindset, David.
I know. You've told me that for years. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The pitch. Hit foul. Back to the screen. Kind of 2 balls and 2 strikes. It is chilly here. I've often said that this is the coldest place in Oak Ridge. I mean, it seems like it's just always so cold up here. Even, and when the season ends, like in May, it's pretty nice. But, man, when it starts, it's just maybe because we're not used to just sitting outside.
And it's probably because we don't get the sunshine that most people get during this time.
Very
since
true.
We're under a roof.
2-2 pitch. Cut on a missed, and that's a swinging strikeout. And how many strikeouts is that now for Mikey?
It's 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's good.
4, you say?
Stepping in now for the Beavers, the left fielder, number 9, Ben Stiles.
Left fielder steps in. This is the top of the order, I believe.
Yes, top of the order.
Styles steps in. What did he do the first time?
He had a strikeout.
Strikeout victim to Mikey Teasley. He struck out the side, I believe, in that inning. That ball is hit on the infield. Catcher. Actually, it's Mikey's going to call him off. He's got a better look at it. Parker had a little trouble picking it up right off the bat, but Mikey, you don't usually see the pitcher, but he really had a better look at it. It's just coming in on it like that. So Mikey makes the play, and that's the second out of the inning.
Very good communication, too, to make the play.
Yeah, that's one thing that, baseball guys, they learn. They call. That's one thing that I guess in all sports you got to communicate. You guys got to communicate on the floor
Or
as
something
well.
can always go wrong if you don't.
Runner's going to third, and he's going to make it. Ball kind of bounced up there. Parker wasn't able to pick it up cleanly, and they've got a base runner at third. 2 outs here. We're in the third inning. Oak Ridge on top by a score of 3-0 as the Wildcats watch them bat here in the third. Home opener for the Wildcats. I mentioned tomorrow will be at Karns, 5:30 ball game. Karns dugout making some noise to our right. 1-0 pitch is high and inside. And the count is 2 balls and no strikes. So I mentioned the Wildcats went down to Gulf Shores. The pitching was just phenomenal in that game. Last game they gave up a few runs. The Wildcats committed a few errors in there, but for the most part the pitching was really, really solid. And that's one of the things this Oak Ridge team's going to kind of rely on this year is their pitching. The pitches hit foul territory, off to the right side and out of play. And the count is 2 balls and 1 strike. Camden Welch is still at first for the Wildcats. Noah Woods at second. Caden Black is at shortstop. Kyron Welch is the third baseman. Parker Free the catcher. Mikey Teasley, 2-1 pitch. Hit foul again over the top. It's very rare that the ball will come into the press box on a foul ball. But other places that we go, I can honestly tell you, you have to keep alive. Kind of be aware of your surroundings, because one person who wasn't was Coach Branson when we were at Campbell County. Was that not right, Vashon? 2 balls and 2 strikes. Pitch, low and inside. Runner at third, bluff to break. Hello, Tommy. How are you? Good to see Tommy Lee. You know this guy, don't you? He helps with the basketball.
Oh, yes.
This is
yes.
Garrett Giles. You probably recognize him.
Yes, sir.
3 balls and 2 strikes.
Yes, sir.
3 balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs, 3-0 Wildcats. Karns dugout really vocal. Here the Oak Ridge dugout to our left as well. Mikey trying to get out of trouble here in the third inning. 1 strike away from doing so. Here's another 3-2 pitch. Outside, ball 4. So the Beavers have runners on the corners now with 2 outs.
Clark takes his base.
And who's batting now, Garrett?
Number 19, Thomas Butler.
First baseman, number 19, Thomas Butler.
What did he do the first time? He was a strikeout
He was a
victim.
strikeout as well.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Runners on the corners. Tying run coming to the plate for the Beavers. The Wildcats up 3-0 as they Beavers bat here in the third. This is a district ball game, our first district game of the year. As I mentioned earlier, if you just tuned in, the Wildcats started off the season with a tie, a tie in baseball. Hey, Garrett, I know you do have a sister, but I won't go through that whole rigmarole that I did at Gibbs. But
Yeah.
But, ties are like kissing your sister. Kind of, it's like, as that pitch is down low a ball, 1 ball, no strikes. It was an extra innings ball game. It was rainy. It was cold. It was at Gibbs. They just called it going into the 8th inning.
It's almost one of those games that you want to get over, but you still want to win.
Yeah, it was the first game of the year. And, Gibbs won state championship in 2020, 2021. So it was a good team.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Short lead at first, very short lead at third. 1 ball, no strikes on the batter. Pitch is a called strike at the belt on the inside half of the plate, and the count is even at 1 ball and 1 strike. Then the Wildcats went down to Gulf Shores, won their first 2 ball games in Alabama, and dropped their last 2. But Wildcats were, represented Oak Ridge well. They played well against some really, really good competition. 1 ball, 1 strike. Let's see if the runner breaks towards second here. He is. Pitch to the plate is down low a ball, and the count is 2 balls and 1 strike. So the Beavers have 2 runners in scoring position. Chilly day. I'm surprised to see Tommy out here. It's kind of cold. But There's kind of a decent crowd here. It's getting bigger. We don't, like I said, we don't have the students we normally have, but
Spring break and just a time off.
timeout is asked for by the batter. Mikey was almost, going through his full windup here. Now Parker's going to go out to talk to him. He's okay. That's the worst when especially for the pitcher, if the batter calls timeout. A lot of times the umpire doesn't have to grant timeout to him. Doesn't have to.
Okay.
But the pitcher, if he's in his motion, it's hard for him to stop without, and especially on a cold day, you kind of worry about your arm a little bit there. Mikey's played enough baseball. I'm sure he's okay. And I think he kind of gestured a little bit towards the umpire and kind of a longer conversation going on between them. I'm not really sure what all that's about. But Mikey kind of kicks dirt out on the mound. Field looks great. I mean, especially this time of year for the grass to be so green. Looks really good. Little sand in front of the mound there. 2 balls and 1 strike. Runners on the second and third. That pitch on the inside corner for a called strike, and the count is even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Softball team got their first district win the other day against the Lady Cougars of Campbell County. Congratulations to them. I think soccer plays tomorrow, so all the spring sports getting geared up right now. 2-2 pitch comes in with a fastball, and that is ball 3. So Mikey in danger of walking the bases loaded here. 3 balls and 2 strikes. No, nothing's been hit hard against Mikey at all in the game, and his own. They had 1 error, and then his controls left him a little bit. 3-2 pitch. It bounces all the way back to the screen, and they're going to score their first run, and they do. Ball bounces away, and they're going to score 2 runs. So the Beavers have 2 runs on a wild pitch, and then a throwing error, and it's 3-2. So just like that, the Beavers are back in it. So it was ball 4 as well. And so the Beavers have scored 2 on the Wildcats. And here comes pitching coach for the Wildcats to talk things over with Mikey. His control just kind of overthrew it, I think, that time. He's trying to get that 3rd strike and just overthrew it. We have a little break in the action. The music is on, so we're turning our mics off. Wildcats lead 3-2. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back once again to Bobby Hopkins Field. Wildcats giving up a couple runs here. It's a 3-2 ball game. Like I said, nothing at all has been hit. Mikey has not been hit hard at all. His control has left him a little bit and allowed those base runners. Working from the stretch, short lead. The pitch is a called strike at the knees on the right half of the plate, the outside half of the plate, and the count is 0-1. Boy, when this sun goes down, it's going to get cold.
It's going to get very cold with the wind.
Mikey checks the runner at first, short lead. Throws over, and he is just back. Really nice move there by Mikey Teasley. Almost got him there, Garrett.
Almost.
No replays, of course, in high school ball. Unless we get Vashon, he could back it up, and we could see if he was safe. He says thumbs up, but obviously just joking. No balls and 1 strike. Pitch. Low and inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. 3-2 our score. The Wildcats in the lead. District ball game here at Bobby Hopkins on our YouTube channel Prep Radio. I'm assuming there's a junior varsity ball game after this. We will not be covering that one. Unfortunately, someday we'll do that. Those guys, they work just as hard as the varsity. 3-2 pitch, hit well into center field. Center fielder Warren East in on it, makes the catch for out number 3. But the Beavers score 2 runs, make it a ball game. We go to the bottom half of the 3rd inning. The Wildcats in the lead, 3-2. We'll be back to Bobby Hopkins in a moment.
For Oak Ridge in the bottom of the
Welcome back once again to Bobby Hopkins Field. We go to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Wildcats in the lead 3-2. Peyton Witter leads things off for the Wildcats. If memory serves me correctly, Peyton had a double.
Yes, that is correct. He did have a double. Oh.
Just making sure.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I thought he did. The Wildcats had 3 doubles in that 1st inning, and he takes one outside of ball. 1 ball, no strikes. You know, baseball is a funny sport. I mean, Mikey has not given up anything hardly at all. The ball's not been hit hard, but they scored 2 runs and make it a ball game. As that pitch is cut on and missed, and the count is even at 1 ball and 1 strike. Hey, James, I think we're going to have to take Garrett to a Braves game, too. He's never even been to many high school games. I know you took Vashon and Caleb. What do you think Garrett would even enjoy himself?
Yeah, I would.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
I think I could fit in your truck.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Peyton back in. Designated hitter today, hitting for Britton, left fielder for the Wildcats today. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, that is something different about it. Usually the wind is not blowing in like it is. It's usually blowing out. Yes, that's why it's made it even a little colder here. As Peyton takes ball 3, and the count is 3-2. Somebody didn't like that. Somebody in the Karns dugout, and the first base umpire's looking over that way.
I mean, he did hit the other side of the box, so.
3-2 pitch. That's ball 4, and down the first will go Peyton Witter. So the Wildcats trying to get those runs back here in the 3rd inning, and Peyton has been on base twice today. And the batter now will be the catcher, Parker Free. What did Parker do his first plate appearance?
On Parker's first play, he got a 2-base hit. And then Izzy got out later on in that play.
Right. He had a double, one of those 3 doubles. Caden Black had a double, Peyton Witter, and Parker with all doubles in that. I guess that was the 1st inning, I guess?
Yes, that was the 1st inning.
Runner at first, good lead at first. Pitch to the plate is a little bit high, right at the belt, a little above the belt. The count is 1 ball and no strikes. We're in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Wildcats in the lead 3-2. We're going to have a little mound visit. Let's see what other kind of questions I can ask you, Garrett, that relate kind of baseball to basketball. You said you didn't start playing sports till 7th grade. What took you so long?
To be honest, I was always just an outdoor kid until that time, and I just randomly one day decided, you know what, and you can ask my dad, it was just the most random thing. I just said, hey, I want to play college basketball, and that's kind of where it started.
Yeah, I've heard that story, and that's that. You know, I think you'll make it. Actually, I think you'll play college ball. Have you started that process? Talking to anybody? How's that work?
Yeah, I've actually had a few schools in the last few days contact me and I guess just try to get to know who I am. And then during the summer, I went on to a few basketball camps at certain schools just to visit and everything like that.
You know, our other part of our broadcast team here, Vashon, he's going to ETSU to play football next year. We're looking forward to watching him play up there. Are we not, James? Yeah. Runner at first.
Gonna have to buy an ETSU shirt.
Here's the pitch. Runner is going, hit foul off to the right side and out of play. Parker's a freshman. I know you played a lot. Hello, Ethan. How are you doing? I'm good. Ethan Eubanks, another part of our crew, in the hole here, in the box. And
Right now.
got a story to tell Ethan here in a minute, unless his dad's already told him.
About maybe.
Yeah. Thought that was interesting today. Throw over to first and back to the bag once again. Will go the Wildcat base runner Peyton Witter. Welch is on deck for Oak Ridge. Parker steps in. Runner takes his lead off of first. 1 ball, 1 strike the count. Throw over and Peyton back to the bag easily. Does it matter what level you play, or do you just want to play?
Honestly, just want to play. I mean, if I got good enough to play at a better level, I mean, there's always a transfer portal nowadays.
Well, that's true. Well, there is right now. I think there might be some changes coming in the NCAA. We'll see.
Very true. Very true, especially with all the commotion that it's caused.
Ball's hit on the ground, deep short. It's going to be a bang play. Oh, boy. That throw eludes the first baseman. Wildcat runner was gunned down at second base. The ball was hit softly to the shortstop, and I thought maybe, Peyton might be able to get in there, but he is out at second, so that's a fielder's choice, FC, and that would be 6-4.
First baseman, number 23.
Wildcats get Izzy Mitchell in the ballgame. Izzy's going to be running for Parker once again. Camden Welch will be the batter. Wildcats on top 3-2. 2 unearned runs for the Beavers. Wildcats put together a pretty solid first inning and scored in the second. The Wildcats have been held scoreless since then. Let's see what Izzy can do. He's taking his lead off of first. And that's another thing. If you're a catcher or a pitcher, as that pitch is hit foul, out of play over the top. If you're a pitcher or a catcher, they can put a runner in for you. And like if you're like in the major leagues, if you were to put a runner in for Parker, then Parker would be done for the game.
Oh, wow.
But in high school ball, for the pitcher and the catcher, you can run for them every time, and then you can pinch run for other position players, but they can only come out of the game once.
Okay.
So I mean, there's high school rules are different from like major league
Major
rules.
leagues, yes.
Yeah. I mean, if you take somebody out of the game, they're out of the game in the major leagues.
Wow.
No balls and 1 strike. Izzy takes a shorter lead at first. He's going. The pitch is strike. The throw is off the third base side of the bag, but that's a stolen base for Izzy Mitchell. So he's in scoring position with 1 out. Ethan, what have you been doing on your break?
Nothing much. I went up to UT Martin on Saturday and had like a visit and stuff like that. That's pretty much it.
That sounds fun. All you guys are trying to better yourselves. Well, I just sit in Oak Ridge and do nothing. Pitches, look good. Yeah, it was a called strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Trying to get TJ today. Have you heard about his MRI? What has he said? I guess he won't get the results.
I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, he was going to get his MRI again today. Izzy Mitchell takes his lead off of second base. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Welch comes back in. Lefty versus righty. The pitch to him is a breaking pitch hit on the ground. Past the second baseman. Izzy Mitchell's coming around third. Here comes the throw to the plate. Cut off by the first baseman, and the Wildcats have scored a run. That is an RBI single for Camden Welch, and the Wildcats up their lead to 4-2 over the Karns Beavers. Here's Kyron Welch stepping in. Kyron, memory serves me correct, and Coach Gaddis will tell you I don't have a memory anymore, but I think he was the one who hit the ball inside the line at third.
I think that is correct.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
So he reached base safely the last time as well. Right-handed hitter. Wildcats gave up 2 runs in the top of this inning. The pace of the game is really slow. Do you all think that, or is it just me?
Compared to other games that I've been to, it's actually kind of a lot faster than what I've seen.
Well, that's because you're actually doing something here at a
Very
baseball
true.
game.
Very true.
Ethan, did you ever play baseball when you were young? Ethan says no.
Not a big baseball guy.
Not a big baseball guy. That's the way Garrett is. That's
Never been
and Vashon at least says it's interesting. That's why Vashon's my favorite, actually. One out here, one on, one in for the Wildcats in a 4-2 ball game. Pitch is up high, a ball, and the count, believe, is 1 ball and no strikes. Runner takes his lead off of first. I think that Camden was cut down on the base paths earlier in the ball game. Pitch to the plate, hit on the ground, shortstop, hit softly. They have a play at second, back to first, and that is a double play. So the Welch brothers hit into a double play there. That would be the 3rd out of the inning, but the Wildcats get one of those runs back. The Wildcats in the lead over the Karns Beavers 4-2 as we go to the top of the 4th. We'll be back to Bobby Hopkins in a moment. Welcome back once again to Bobby Hopkins Field. We go to the top of the 4th inning. Oak Ridge on top 4-2. Oak Ridge players getting on. Pitching coach for the Wildcats, he booted one on the foul ball. Count is no balls and 1 strike. Nobody on, nobody out. We're in the 4th inning. A chilly, windy day at Bobby Hopkins Field. The Wildcats on top of the Beavers 4-2. Mikey Teasley comes out. He started and has gone the whole way for the Wildcats, giving up 2 unearned runs. The pitch is hit on the ground softly to Noah Wood. Noah fields it, throws on to first just in time. Kind of double clutch there for a second. And I thought Noah might have taken a little bit too much time, but I was incorrect. Good play by the second baseman, and that'll be out number 1 here in the – well, here's Ethan. Ethan's my favorite a tweeter guy here. He's the best at that, actually. Right-handed hitter, 1 out here in the 1st. Ask Ethan how much he likes to do the there's a called strike, no balls and 1 strike. Mikey checks the runner. Or no runner. The pitch is hit foul back to the screen, and the count is 0-2. I'm putting a lot on Garrett For somebody who doesn't really follow baseball, it was 4-3. It was second baseman to the first baseman. What do you need? Right-handed hitter. No balls and 2 strikes. Pitch to the plate is a breaking pitch. Called strike 3. That is out number 2 here in the 4th inning. Really nice pitch. That is the backwards K there, Garrett. And that's out number 2 here in the 4th inning. Are you still working on that same tweet? Wait, he might have been a pinch hitter. Might have been a pinch hitter.
We won't worry about it. Okay. So just put a backwards K on that.
Yeah. 2 outs here. The pitch is a fastball in there for a called strike, and the count is no balls and 1 strike. Oak Ridge dugout making some noise here. We got for the coolness of the day, we've got a decent crowd. There's a swing and a miss there, and the count is 0-2. 4-2 Wildcats. Karns batting here in the 4th. This is the first district game of the year. So I mentioned we'll play Karns again tomorrow. 4-2. Pitch is high and inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Teasley has the sign. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Breaking pitch just a little bit high, and the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. Timeout is asked for by the batter. Who is batting, by the way? Garrett.
Number 11, Isaac Schmidt.
What has Schmidt done today?
All I've seen is he has been out twice.
So he's 0 for 2, and
Actually, he's been out once. Sorry.
they asked for help on a check swing, and they say he didn't go. 3 balls and 2 strikes. So, Garrett, we'll talk basketball here during the break, actually. 3 balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs, nobody aboard. The pitch, fastball, outside corner, called strike 3, and that is out number 3 here in the top of the 4th inning. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning. The Wildcats on top of the Beavers, 4-2. We'll be back to Bobby Hopkins Field in a moment. Welcome back once again to Bobby Hopkins Field. David Clary, Garrett Giles, Vashawn Knowles, and Ethan Eubanks with us as well. Appreciate you watching our broadcast here. It's cold. We're being a little extra silly, I guess, because it is cold. I'll just be honest with you. It's cold, especially for an old guy like me. 4-2 our score here. Wildcats Richie Ferreira steps in. Richie had a triple, I believe. His last plate appearance was stranded at third but knocked in a run. Wildcats on top 4-2. How important are these district ball games? Baseball, basketball, doesn't matter. How important are these district games, especially to get, started with a win?
Oh, they're very important. I mean, it starts the season off, and it's a start off that leads just to rather a great start or a we need to work start.
Have you gotten over that last shot in the Bearden ball game? I know that had to be just heartbreaking. You were out on the floor, I guess, and That pitch is cut on miss. Richie was trying to hit one out of the park here, but have you gotten over that a little bit?
I mean, I wasn't in the game, so it was a hard moment to take in. Just to, I guess, I really couldn't do anything about it. Just sitting there to watch it just start season end. So it was rough to take, but I mean, you always think, well, what do we got to do to get better next season to play and make it farther?
You know, and as I watched the state tournament and the two teams that played for the state championship, and, you know, I think you could have competed and beaten both of them.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, we had a team, I think it was Cookville, I think they made it to the Elite Eight or the Final Four even.
Yeah, the Final Four.
In the summer, we had a game where we ended in a tie.
Wow.
So it's one of those things where it's like, what if?
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's sports, though, as that pitch is hit foul into the parking lot and hit the tree. Kept it from going into a car. That's why I park a long ways down there, because I've seen too many broken windshields and dented fenders and dented side panels. See what Richie can do here. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Nobody on, nobody out. The pitch to him is way outside. Ball 4. Second consecutive inning, the Wildcats have led off with a base runner on a walk. This time it's Richie heading down to first. And the batter now for the Wildcats, I believe, will be Noah Wood.
Yes.
Stepping in now for Oak Ridge, the second baseman, number 13, Noah Wood.
Wood I believe he's a freshman for the Wildcats. Let me verify that. I'm trying to think. I haven't seen him in a week or so.
He is a freshman.
And right-handed hitter. Good lead at first. Not going, bunt, put down really nice and fielded by the pitcher. Only one play, and Richie advances down to second. That would be a sacrifice, SAC, 1-3. And that doesn't count against him batting. Like, it doesn't count against his batting average. He sacrificed himself for the team, so it doesn't count against him.
Base removed. Okay.
Which is fair. I mean, if you're going to give yourself up like that. Warney steps in for the Wildcats. Warren squares to bunt himself and misfires. They throw down to second, and Richie back safely. Wasn't sure if he was trying to bunt to get on. I'll pay a little bit more attention to where the infielders are. You can kind of tell, like, especially on high grass like this, the third baseman's actually playing back.
Yes.
So if he were to lay it down, bunt it down the third base line, he'd probably get on base. And then maybe that's what he was trying to do, or maybe he was just trying to sacrifice him over as Warren steps back in. Pitcher steps off, didn't like Richie, and didn't like the sign, kind of signaled to his catcher. I don't know. So Wildcats on top 4-2 as they bat here in the fourth inning. Richie Ferreira down at second. There's one out. Checks the runner. Wind blowing hard. Pitches a breaking pitch hit in the air on the infield. The catcher, the first baseman over. He circles and he can't get it. It was, well, I'm not going to pick on him there, Garrett. I mean, he did have trouble picking up the ball early, and then he kind of stumbled his way towards it. Just couldn't catch it. And that is
Tripped right on the grass.
so baseball is a humbling sport at times too, and that guy's pretty humbled right now.
Very.
As it's no balls and 1 strike. Warren back in. Richie Ferreira takes his lead off of second. Second baseman, shortstop coming in. The pitch is foul into the mid of the catcher, and the count is 0-2. Actually, it's strike 3, I guess. I must have missed one. The scoreboard was off of one, and that's my fault. And that is out number 2 here in the fourth inning. And the batter will be Caden Black. Caden had a double back in the first inning. I think he walked the second plate appearance.
Yes.
So he is officially 1 for 1 in the ballgame with a walk. Wildcats have had base runners the last couple times that weren't able to score. As that pitch hits Caden in the back. And he says he did not get hit in the back.
Oh, wow.
And Here comes Coach Free. Let's see if he's going to argue the point. And I don't know if they're going to say that. It looked plain as day to me that it hit him.
Yeah, he got
But
hit.
maybe they're going to say he didn't get out of the way. I mean, you have to make an attempt to get out of the way
Yeah.
of the pitch. And I don't know. I mean, James, did you think he was hit by the pitch there?
I couldn't really tell. I couldn't tell from where the catcher was.
Yeah. Well, the umpire saw it, and
I mean, but
he determined that he didn't move. So, I mean, we'll just call it a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. If he got hit, it was a painful ball. 1 ball, no strikes, 2 outs, runner at second. The Wildcats on top of Karns, 4-2, in a cold, windy day at Bobby Hopkins Field. Pitch, breaking pitch, outside, ball 2. One thing I told Garrett before the game, dress warmly because it is cold in the press box. And it is cold in the press
You
box.
were very correct.
Yeah. 2 balls and no strikes. It's warmer outside. Trust me, it's warmer out there
Oh,
than it is
yeah.
in here. 2 balls, no strikes. The pitch, breaking pitch, outside corner for a called strike, and the count is 2-1. Richie Ferreira led off with a walk, was bunted down to second, and then a strikeout. We've got 2 outs here in the 4th in a 4-2 ball game. In high school ball, you play 7 innings, not 9.
Okay.
So a little shorter than you might have expected. 2 balls, 1 strike. Pitch to Black is up high. 3 balls and 1 strike. Mikey Teasley's on deck for the Wildcats. Hoping to bat here in the 4th inning. Caden's got to get on somehow. 3 balls, 1 strike. 4-year starter steps in, hitting from the left side. 3-1 pitch. Hit. Just foul. Man, that first baseman, he is struggling.
worried.
He almost had to go to the orthodontist and dentist tomorrow because that ball almost tagged him in the face. I don't think he saw it.
No, it was about to be a bad day for him, for sure.
3 balls and 2 strikes. It is hard to play the outfield on the right side with the sun bearing down on you. First baseman struggled
Both
this
of them
inning.
having their gloves over their head to cover the sun.
3 balls, 2 strikes. The pitch. That time it did hit him. I know that for a fact, and Caden will reach base. That's something that happened to Caden a lot. That would be HP. Yeah, hit by pitch. And he's at first base. Last year, Caden got hit a lot. I mean, as a leadoff guy, you want him to get on base, but he got on base painfully a lot last year. I mean, but, that's what the good leadoff guy does, gets on base any way he possibly can.
Oh, yeah, and especially with his ability to steal bases.
Got Richie in front of him at second. Caden Black, the runner at first. 2 outs, though. Mikey steps in. What has Mikey done today?
Mikey, he has got out both times.
What is it? Oh, okay, he's 0 for 2 in the ball
Yes,
game.
he's
Yeah,
0 for 2.
I know
He's
the
0 for 2.
first one he hit the ball right on the button to the
Yeah.
third baseman for an out. He takes a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. I'm kind of surprised Ethan showed up here. It's kind of a
Especially in shorts.
yeah. What? Second was a fielder's choice. Thank you, James. Pitch to the plate is high and inside. 2 balls and no strikes. Garrett's actually doing a really good job there, Coach Branson. He's doing the book here. And
Yeah, it's a lot of wording and numbers and everything.
2 outs, 4-2 our score. Good lead at second for Richie. Good lead at first for Caden. Pitch is hit well into the gap to left center field. The center fielder over, makes the catch for out number 3. The ball just hung up there in about the deepest part of the park. It's 368 to the power alley out there. The ball just kind of hung up in the air. When he hit it, I thought it was going to get it down for extra base hits, but a nice play by the center fielder, and that retires the side. We go to the top of the 5th inning here at Bobby Hopkins. Oak Ridge on top of Karns, 4-2. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back once again to Bobby Hopkins Field. We go to the top half of the 5th inning for the Karns Beavers. Who will be the first 3 batters in their lineup here?
We have number 12, Braden Harness, number 2, Connor Birchfield, and number 9, Ben Stiles.
Right-handed hitter. Mikey goes high and inside with it. That's got to be in the 90s too. The count is 1 ball and no strikes. Basically, the fielders are the same. That pitch is a high fastball, 87 miles per hour.
Oh, wow.
Count is 1 ball and 1 strike.
Yeah.
Camden Welch is at first base. Noah Wood is at second. Caden Black at short still. There's a strike, strike 2, and the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes. 89 miles per hour.
Gosh.
By Mikey Teasley, the sophomore. Kyron Welch is at third base. Here's a 2-strike pitch. That's inside and high. Evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Camden Britton is the left fielder, I believe. Wildcats have Warren East in center and Richie Ferreira in right. Parker Free is the catcher. Mikey comes in, high and inside. That was a fastball at 90 miles an hour.
Gosh.
Oh, yeah, Tyler Pickens in the house. Good to see Tyler. 3 balls and 2 strikes. The pitch hit on the ground, high hop. Welch flips it on to Mikey in time for the out. The reason I chuckled, because I don't know that Camden saw it off the bat that well, and he was able to recover and record the out.
Yeah, able to make a play.
Now for Karns, the third baseman, number 2, Connor Birchfield.
What number are we looking at now?
What's that?
What was that?
That would be
3-1?
3-1, yeah. Good job. Out number 1 here as we Wildcats in the lead 4-2 in this district ball game. Pitches high and inside, but he swung on and fouled it back to the screen, and the count is no balls and 1 strike. I think there will be a junior varsity ball game after this one by the crowd size here. Looks like there's some younger players in the house as well. The difference is here's the 1-strike pitch, and I guess it might have been a little bit low. The difference between baseball, the poor JV guys have to play when it's colder.
Especially later at night.
Yeah, after the varsity games. That pitch is cut on and missed, and the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes. How many strikeouts does Mikey have to this point?
1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. 5, 6.
6 strikeouts. Let's make it 7 right here. There we go.
There we go.
Go sit down. That is out number 2 here in the 5th inning. 2 up and 2 down. Mikey trying to get through the 5th inning here. As I said, you play in high school ball, you play 7 innings. Top of the order we go once again, I believe.
Yes, number 9, Ben Stiles.
What has Styles done today?
He had a strikeout at first, and then I don't know what F1
F1,
maybe.
he popped up to Mikey.
Yes, okay.
Pitch is foul tipped into the middle of Parker, and the count is 0-1. 4-2 Wildcats. The 2 runs that the Beavers have scored, both scored on a wild pitch, and then a little bit of an error, throwing error. Unearned runs against Mikey. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Breaking pitch stays up high, and the count is 1 ball and 1 strike.
That was a nice pitch. You got 8?
James says 8 Ks. Garrett, I'll let you retabulate. Your math teacher, Coach Wright, says you're good at math and should be good at stats. As there's a called strike, and the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Oh,
Coach
I did miscount 1.
And Coach Wright is watching the broadcast right now. So, Coach, I don't know, you might want to take some points off of his next test or whatever assignment you give him. That
Looking
pitch is
through all these numbers and
high.
letters.
high ball, 2 balls and 2 strikes. I was thinking about this the other day, and I know you're a Kentucky basketball fan. The last time that I saw St. Peter's, as that pitch is low and outside, the last time I saw with my own eyes, I was with Coach Wright at the time. We were in Indianapolis, and we watched St. Peter's play the Kentucky Wildcats in the tournament. Garrett, do you remember?
I remember that. I remember that bad. Whew.
2 balls, 2 strikes. The pitch. Evidently, that's ball. Yeah, scoreboard was off a little bit. That is ball 4. So base on balls for the Beavers. So they've got a 2-out base runner here in the 5th in a 4-2 ball game. Shortstop comes into play here. And James, looking at the hit total here for the Beavers. Am I okay? That's what I thought. One error. Yes, the Wildcats have committed an error. There's a thrower to first and back to the bag safely. So what do you remember about that St. Peter's ball game?
Oh, goodness. Just us playing absolutely terrible, and then just them playing phenomenal. And, they had all their unknown players, and now they're all at different schools because of that one tournament run. So it was a rough time to be a Kentucky fan, for sure.
And that is who Tennessee obviously will be playing in the first round of the tournament. And
I mean, for me, maybe that'll be another upset that St. Peter's could have.
Coach Wright just said that was a really good day, too, that day.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Runner going. Here's the pitch. Down low, here's Parker's throw, and it goes in for a stolen base. I thought it might go through, but a nice pickup there by Caden. They've got a runner in scoring position with 2 outs and a 1-ball, 1-strike count. We're in the 5th inning. The Wildcats on top 4-2. Garrett is a Kentucky fan, if you just didn't pick up on that. That's who they lost to in that NCAA tournament up in Indianapolis. The funny thing about that, 1-ball, 1-strike pitch is a little bit high. We were with a guy, you probably don't know him, but his name is Hayden Tarwater. He ended up playing his career at Karns. He played quarterback for us as well.
Okay.
He was a diehard Kentucky fan, and he was with us as well, and he had to sit through that.
It was a rough game to watch.
2 balls and 1 strike. Of course, I'm talking smack here, and Tennessee could go down in the first round too.
To the
Nice
same
pick,
team.
nice pickup there by Parker on a pitch down in the dirt. The count is 3 balls and 1 strike. I guess, Garrett, if there's anything I can say, Mikey's pitched well. The only thing I can say, his control has not been with him. He's walked several batters.
Yeah, he's had a few walks, and I mean that's been a struggle to keep Karns in the game. But for his pitching speed, it's unreal.
Yeah, 3-1 pitch. That's ball 4. So they've got the tying runs on base now. And let me ask Jeff how many pitches that Mikey has thrown to this point. We'll see how many Mikey has thrown. Around 78 pitches.
Oh, wow.
In the old days, there was a pitcher the Braves had named Warren Spahn who threw over 200 pitches in a ball game before. Yeah, over 200. Yeah, that's crazy.
I bet his arm was
Well,
hurting.
they don't let them do that anymore, especially in the major leagues. And looks like we're going to have a pitching change, and Mikey is going to come out of the ball game, and we are going to have a pitching change. And while we look who's going to come in to pitch, we'll take a quick break. Looks like it might be Cy Stevens coming in to pitch. We'll be back to Bobby Hopkins in a moment. Welcome back once again to Bobby Hopkins Field. The Wildcats have a new pitcher. His name is Cy Stevens. And Cy is another one of those new Wildcats who have joined the program here. And he replaces Mikey Teasley, who really, really pitched well today.
Really well, really well.
Cy's going to come in here, and he's a left-handed thrower, throws hard. He'll play a little outfield for the Wildcats. He's a good hitter. He's going to be a versatile guy for Coach Free this season. One thing that I think is an advantage for this team, just having watched them through the spring here, is the Wildcats have a lot of pitchers. And you know as well as I do, you play for Coach Green. He values defense above almost everything, even though he was a shooting guard himself. If you have a good pitching staff, you're going to in about every single ball game. It's kind of like basketball. It's just great defense.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that he's got an abundance of this year. I think he has a lot of different options that he can go to, and he's going to go to Cy here. And Mikey pitched a great ball game, but it is cold. And you don't. It's the first district ball game. You don't want to hurt his arm.
Yeah.
And make him throw too much. And Cy's hoping to get out of this inning. They've got runners at first and second, but there are 2 outs. Lefty versus righty. That pitch is high, and the count is 1 ball and no strikes. Kyron Welch has taken over at catcher, it appears, for the Wildcats. Now Mikey has moved over to third base. Right-handed hitter. Hits him. So they have the bases loaded now with 2 outs. And Buckner is the guy hit. And who is this batting now?
C.J. Burnett, number 14.
Has he gone on base today?
No, he is 0 and 2. 0 and 2. Well, no. Sorry, he's 0 of 1. 1 and 2, sorry.
Coach Wright. Cy's going to have to get out of a mess here. His base is loaded. Pitch is down low. A ball. 1 ball, no strikes. It's a 4-2 ball game. Wildcats in the lead, but the Beavers are threatening here in the 5th inning. They've got the bases loaded. Cy comes to the plate. There's a called strike. And the count is even at 1 ball and 1 strike. James, is that Izzy in left? Is that Izzy in left? Okay, still. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pitch. Down low, a ball. 2 balls and 1 strike. It's kind of a tough situation. Cy comes in. He had 2 on, but there were 2 outs. And, it's a tough situation, especially on a cold day. I know he's been warming up, but it's got to be a tough situation for him.
Coming in the middle of a cold game.
Let's see what the 2-1 pitch is. It's hit foul right at the plate, and the count is 2-2. I guess it's kind of like if you're coming off the bench cold to shoot technical free throws for somebody who's been hurt when you haven't been practicing. Kind of similar, maybe?
Oh, it's definitely similar.
I'm trying to get some basketball analysis in baseball.
Oh, yeah.
But
definitely some difficulties in that scenario.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Size pitch. Oh, that's strike 3, but he didn't call it. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, that looked good from about every angle you could possibly see except the guy behind the plate. 3 balls and 2 strikes the count. Bases loaded. Cy Stevens comes to the plate. Runners on the move. Pitch is cut on and missed. Go sit down. The inning comes to a close. Wildcats get the strikeout from Cy Stevens, and that is out number 3. We go to the bottom half of the 5th inning here at Bobby Hopkins Field. The Wildcats lead Karns 4-2, and we'll be back in a moment. David Clary back here along with Garrett Giles, member of the Oak Ridge High School basketball team, along with Vashawn Knowles, future ETSU Buccaneer football player. We got Ethan Eubanks with us as well. Ethan doesn't just show up randomly. This is kind of like a privilege, actually, to have Ethan in the house with us. He's part of our crew. He went to about every one of our games, but I mean, he doesn't usually just show up randomly at baseball games, especially when it's freezing cold. First pitch to Peyton Witter is a ball. 1 ball and no strikes to count. 4-2 our score. The 2 runs that Karns has scored in this game are both unearned runs, but they count just the same. Mikey pitched great. Cy Stevens came in and he hit the first guy, but that strikeout. Actually, I thought he had him struck out the pitch prior to that, but that pitch is up high, and the count is 2 balls and no strikes. My question is, have you enjoyed your first ball game at least?
Oh, yeah, by far. It's been very eventful.
Yeah, it's always fun up in the press box with this variety of characters that we've got up here. It's not always as nice though, and there's places that we go that we have to stand outside and stand the whole time, and there's no press boxes.
Oh, wow.
Karns will be like that tomorrow. I dread actually. I love going to Karns because it's close,
Yeah.
but they have a press box, but it doesn't really work with the camera and everything.
All
so
the equipment.
yeah, 3 balls, 1 strike. Here's a 3-1 pitch, hit on the ground, foul, up towards the Oak Ridge dugout, and count is full now. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Wildcats were very productive in the first 2 innings of the ball game. They scored the first 2, I think, in the first inning, and then a single run in the third. But then since that time, it's been nothing. As that pitch is hit foul back of the screen. Count is 3 balls and 2 strikes. But Garrett, the Wildcats have had runners all over the bases, though.
Oh, yeah.
They haven't been able to score.
Just about every inning they've had a runner on base.
They did score that solo run back in the, I guess that would be the 3rd, 4th inning. Pitch to the plate is hit foul again. Or towards the Oak Ridge dugout. And the count remains full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Nobody on, nobody out. Wildcats batting in the 5th inning. Bottom of the 5th inning. In a game that I think's really kind of moving slowly. We've had a lot of base runners, but it's kind of slow. 3-2 pitch. Called strike 3. Outside and high. Witter has to go sit down. That's out number 1 here in the 5th inning. And the batter now for the Wildcats will be the second baseman. That'll be Parker Free. Parker took over for Noah Wood at second base. So I told you, Parker will play a little bit of infield. I don't know if he's going to play. Earlier in the year, he was working a little bit at third. I don't know if we'll see him much there. The Wildcats kind of loaded at that position. There's a called strike, and the count is 0-1. But Parker will play second base quite a bit. He'll share duties with Kyron Welch behind the plate. No balls and 1 strike. Pitch to the plate is cut on a miss. A high pitch. We've got a new pitcher in the ballgame now I just noticed that after a couple batters. Who is the new pitcher there for the Karns Beavers?
Number 18, Luke Barnes.
So Barnes steps in. Do you recognize any of these names from their basketball team, Garrett?
To be honest, I don't really remember a lot of their names from the basketball games.
Well, there was Bubba Faulkner.
Yeah, I do remember Bubba and Chris.
Yeah.
That's about where my names ended on that team.
Well, you don't call them. I call them, and you just play them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a little different. Ball was hit foul out of play. Count is 0-2. Sean's with us here. I think he's sick, though, but he's doing camera work for us. No balls and 2 strikes. Bashan just returned from the beach, where it was probably a lot nicer than it is here. Picked up a little bit of a tan. The 2-strike pitch is a little bit high. 1 ball, 2 strikes. I'm sitting here trying to remember their other players too, actually. The Karns basketball team, but
A lot of them weren't really memorable for me, to be honest.
ball's hit on the ground up the middle. Shortstop fields it right to the side of the bag. Throws on to first in time for the second out of the inning. So 2 up and 2 down for the Wildcats. And the batter now will be the first baseman, Camden Welch.
Is that 5-3?
What has Camden done today? Yes. No, 6 to 3.
Let's see. He had a one base hit earlier, and then he had an RBI in the third.
Okay, so Camden's had a good day at the plate here. 4-2 Wildcats. I think Bashan's doing our camera and scoreboard work for us today. Got back home from the beach at 3 o'clock in the morning. But as usual, he bounced right to it and wanted to be a part of the crew again. 1 ball, no strikes. Ball ripped foul off to the right side and out of play. TJ Hibben was going to help us today, but he had his MRI again. 1 ball, 1 strike. TJ watching our broadcast right now. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs, nobody aboard. 4-2 Wildcats. That pitch is high and outside. I just saw Garrett yawn. I think baseball is a yawner for him.
No, actually, I mean, I've had a late few nights the last few nights, to be honest.
Oh, wow.
1 and 2 o'clock in the morning and waking up at 6, 7.
Well, so a social life during your spring break, is it?
Not really social. I mean, I don't know. I don't really know how you'd say it. I mean, just stay up late on certain nights, and then I've woken up early to rather fish or hunt or basketball.
That's your life, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that and doing math, according to Coach Wright. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Barnes on the hill for the Beavers. Welch back in. The pitch to him. Down low, a ball. Full count now. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Correct me if I'm wrong. I might be wrong here. The Wildcats, I think, have had a base runner in every inning. I don't remember an inning where they were retired in order.
Yes, that's correct.
Cam trying to get on base here, and he is. Ball 4. So the Wildcats will have a 2-out base runner with Wildcats in the lead 4-2. And let's see, Wildcats. Looks like Kyron Welch is going to step in. What has Kyron done to this point?
He's had a 1 base hit and he has scored.
I think it was a double, was it not?
I think he was actually just a single.
And he'll step in, had to take off his catching gear. He's got a towel hanging out of the back of his jersey, and they're going to make him take that off. I thought that was probably going to go. I thought it was a towel. Yeah, that just doesn't fly. The umpire spotted that right away. So did I as he walked up to the plate. Wildcats wearing their pinstripes, their cardinal and white pinstripes. Karns wearing their gray and blue and gold, little gold on their hat. Runner at first. I think the last time ball's hit into a double play, Kyron did. Kyron had a double down the third base line. I believe that was his hit earlier.
Yes.
He's a right-handed hitter. 1 strike the count. See where Camden goes here. He's taking a short lead. He draws a throw over to first. And back to the bag he goes safely. It is chilly here. The wind seems to have died down a bit, which is helpful because the wind was blowing right into the press box. No balls, 1 strike. Camden is going. The pitch is a breaking pitch, and here's the throw, and it's a bad one. It's going to be a stolen base for Camden Welch. The throw tailed off to the second base side, and once again, good backup there by the shortstop. And, the Wildcats have a runner in scoring position in a 4-2 ball game. Base hit might mean a run for the Wildcats here. Let's see what Kyron can do with a 1-1 pitch. Barnes checks the runner at second. Umpire grants the timeout to Kyron Welch. 4-2 Wildcats. We're in the 5th inning, 6th inning. What inning are we in?
Bottom of the 5th.
5th inning, I thought so. We play 7, but like I said, this game seems to just be going a little slow at slow pace here. That pitch is down low, a ball. And Kyron is ahead in the count, 2 balls and 1 strike. 2 outs, 1 on. Wildcats up 4-2. The Wildcats have never trailed in the ball game. They took the lead 3-0, and then Karns came roaring back with 2 to make it 3-2. The Wildcats scored a single run. The pitch to Kyron is outside, and that is ball 3. 3 balls and 1 strike. Wildcats have Richie Ferreira on deck. Evelyn, are you a baseball fan? Evelyn says no. 3 balls and 1 strike. That pitch is high and tight, and that is ball 4. Wildcats have runners. The Welch brothers are on base. We're going to get a runner probably for Kyron. Let's see if we do get a runner into the ball game for Kyron. I haven't seen anybody emerge from the dugout. There is a conference going on the mound. Wildcats in the lead 4-2. We're on our YouTube channel, Prep Radio. Thanks for tuning in our broadcast. Here comes Izzy. He's going to run for Kyron. While this conversation looks like we're going to have a pitching change, and that'll be it. We'll take a break here. Wildcats on top of Karns 4-2 as they bat with 2 outs in the 5th inning.
Coming in to pitch run for
Welcome back once again to Bobby Hopkins Field, and we've got a new pitcher on the mound, number 8 for the Karns Beavers.
Number 8.
Number 8,
I just said his name too. Blake Bowers.
So Blake Bowers stands in. Right-handed thrower against the left-handed hitting Richie Ferreira. The pitch to the plate is in there for a called strike. Richie had a triple in the ball game.
And he got walked too.
He was stranded at third after that triple. Wildcats have an opportunity to get more runs here. There's 2 outs, though. The Wildcats have runners at first and second. Pitch to Richie, the breaking pitch, ripped. Oh, nice play by the first baseman. It was kind of an ole, but a great play. I thought the ball was hit like a shot. He just kind of scooped at it and made a nice play. Good play by the first baseman.
What a catch. What a catch.
So we go to the top of the 6th inning. The Wildcats strand a couple more base runners. We go to the 6th. Wildcats on top of the Beavers, 4-2. We'll be back to Bobby Hopkins in a moment. Welcome, welcome back once again. Sorry about that, Garrett. Sir, welcome back to Bobby Hopkins Field. We go to the 6th inning. I guess that side's going to come out for his first complete inning, hopefully. He faced 2 batters in the 5th inning. Had a strikeout. That pitch is hit in the air down the right field line. That's going to go for extra bases. All the way in the corner, tracking it down, and it'll be a triple for the Karns Beavers. He just put his bat out there, poked it into right field. A really nice job of hitting there
Very
by
nice hit.
the Karns Beaver. He didn't do anything fancy. Didn't take a big swing on it. Just kind of put his bat out there, poked it into right field. It was perfectly placed. Went all the way down to the right field corner, and they've got a runner at third with nobody out here in the 6th inning in a 4-2 ball game. Who's batting now for the Beavers?
I do not have number 5 down. It's,
Cut on and missed.
number 5, Joe Courier.
Courier is the batter. No balls and 1 strike. That would be Cy Stevens
He's from
pitching.
HBA.
1 strike pitch, strike 2. Good fastball on the outside half of the plate. Cy, a left-hander. Wearing those flashy pink shoes. Kind of pink. That pitch is low and inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Let's see if we got any changes in the field. Well, looks like about everybody's the same. Parker did move out to second base from catcher. Kyron is a catcher now. The pitch is a breaking pitch hit on the ground. Caden Black, he fumbles it, can't make the play. So they'll score their 3rd run of the game, and they'll have a runner at first with nobody out.
E6.
Looks like we're going to have a pitching change perhaps. I see Coach Travis Free coming out. The Wildcats in the lead 4-3, and that is going to be it for Cy Stevens. And the Wildcats are going to make a pitching change. Cy's going to head towards left field. Looks like Britton's going to come out of the ball game in left. And let's see who's going to come in to pitch for the Wildcats. While we have that discussion, we'll take a break. We'll be back to Bobby Hopkins. Wildcats in the lead 4-3. We'll be back in a moment.
He's been with his hoodie and everything on.
Welcome back to Bobby Hopkins Field. We go to a new pitcher. Peyton Witter is going to take over on the mound. The 3rd pitcher used. Mikey Teasley started the ball game. Wildcats giving up really their first hit of the ball game just a moment ago. leading at 4-3. They've got a runner at first, reached on an error. Witter is a left-handed throwing junior, and the first pitch is a called strike. Who is this at bat for the Beavers?
Isaac Schmid.
What has he done today?
He has had he is 0 for 1, 0 for 2.
No balls, 1 strike. Here comes the thrower to first, and it eludes the first baseman, but not far enough. And the Wildcats went off his glove, and it'll be a no ball, 1 strike count. Peyton Witter started the game as the designated hitter, and he can play a little first as well. It's a district ball game. It's tight. 4-3 is our score. Pitching has been good to this point. The Wildcats have committed a couple of errors, a couple of wild pitches, allowed runs to score as well. Witter checks the runner, comes to the plate. The runner is going. He bunts it foul. And the count is 0-2. Does Coach Green make you all run a lot in the offseason?
Oh yeah, a ton. I mean, we have a thing called 17s where you have to. It's almost a ladder. You start at 1, you run once down, and then you got to run 1 like down and back 2 times, and then 3, and then 4, and it just keeps going up and up. And then we have to go all the way back down.
At your previous school, did you all play the same kind of style of offense that you play at Oak Ridge?
Oh no, not really. I mean, our coach's favorite word was motion because that's all we did.
Okay.
But I mean, my old school played slow, except for like me and 1 other player.
1 ball, 1 strike, officially on the scoreboard, and Witter chases the runner back. Avery, good to see you here. Avery lost a tooth here in the last week or so. Got had an opportunity to have the tooth fairy come. What did the tooth fairy give you, Avery?
Money.
Money, yeah. That's the best part. Tooth fairy she got money for the tooth fairy. So the count is 0-2. They changed it up on the scoreboard. Runner at first. No balls, 2 strikes. Witter checks the runner. Wind comes blowing into the press box again. Here's the 0-2 pitch. That's high. Let me check the mile per hour on that one. 72 from Peyton Witter. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Runner takes a good lead at first. He's inching off even farther. See if he goes on this pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Nope. Goes all the way back to the back screen, back on the wall. So they've got the tying run in scoring position and a 2 ball, 2 strike count on the batter. Karns making some waves here. The Wildcats have led the entire way. Wildcats have had base runners in every inning, but haven't been able to get them across. Peyton, once again, he's a lefty. Runner at second, tying run. Witter in relief of Cy Stevens. The 2-strike pitch cut on and missed. And that is a swinging strikeout, and that is out number 1 here in the 6th inning. 4-3 is our score. That's okay. I just think it's 4-3 on the scoreboard. Okay. Of course he does. Sean's always on top of that. Designated hitter standing in for the Karns Beavers. They've got the tying run in scoring position. We're in the 6th inning in a tight ball game, district ball game from Bobby Hopkins Field. Peyton Witter didn't like the sign, steps off. Now he and Kyron and the entire infield are going to get together and make sure they're all on the same page. Wildcats will play Karns tomorrow at Karns, 5:30. The Wildcats later this week, let's see, I think they've got Bearden and Maryville, I believe, this week. I think it's Bearden and Maryville. One is a home game, one's away. Coach Branson is checking his schedule. I believe it's Bearden maybe on Thursday and Maryville on Friday, or at Bearden, and then, okay. So Wildcats have a lot of ball to be played this week. Kind of took off most of the week second half of the week last week because of the trip to Gulf Shores. Runner at second, Peyton Witter comes to the plate. A little bit high. Count is 1-0.
That's close.
Cy Stevens is out in left field right now. took over for Britton. Camden played and did not bad in the ball game, but been in the field until this inning, I believe. Peyton checks the runner, 1 ball, no strikes. Called a strike on the outside half of the plate, and the count is 1 ball and 1 strike. You can hear the coaching staff giving encouragement out to the junior left-hander for the Wildcats. He's ahead. Well, actually, he's 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Pitch is a breaking pitch. Stays high and outside, and the count is 2 balls and 1 strike. Sean Knowles with us here today. Always good. Garrett Giles here as well. Got Ethan with us as well. He's not doing much. Ethan's here, but he's not doing much. 2 balls and 1 strike. The pitch. Inside corner. And count is even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Kind of a generous call there, Garrett.
By far.
Well, we'll take it.
Take any generous call.
Right, especially right now. They've got the tying run down at second base. 2 balls and 2 strikes in a 4-3 ball game. The Wildcats in the lead. Bet you Coach Garrison and Coach Froning are watching our broadcast today. Here's the pitch. Hit foul back our way and out of play. You know, if Caleb Riker was in here, he would be ducking under the desk right now on that foul ball. I mean,
He ducks that back.
2 balls and 2 strikes. 1 out. Runner at second. Big lead at second. Wildcats sneak in behind with Caden Black. Here's a 2-strike pitch. Cut on. Foul tip. Strike 3. That's the second out here in the 6th inning. Good pitch that time for Peyton Witter. And now has an opportunity to get out of this inning without any further damage. Who is batting now for the Beavers?
Number 2, Connor Birchfield.
What has he done today?
He has been striked out twice.
Well, hopefully 3 times will be the charm here as Peyton tries to get out of the 6th inning. They've given up a run. Pitch to the plate is low and inside. 1 ball and no strikes. Wildcats started with Mikey Teasley. He left the game around 80 pitches, had 8 strikeouts, I believe, and had not given up a hit. I think the only hit they have really was that double or triple down the line. I can't remember many other
triple.
hits. We've
That
had a
was a
lot of
triple.
walks.
Yeah. A lot of walks and 1 triple, really.
1 ball, no strikes. Runner, big lead. Caden comes sneaking in behind from the shortstop position. The pitch outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Where are we in their order right now? Are we towards the bottom or?
We're at the very bottom.
Very bottom. So the top of the order is on deck. This is the guy that Peyton wants to get out right here. Doesn't want to get that back to the top of the order. He's behind in the count. 2 balls and no strikes. The pitch. There's a strike. And the count is 2-1.
Good call.
Sounds like Bashan's sick over there. Coughing.
I don't know, you're sniffing him so much.
2 balls and 1 strike.
Sure you don't got a cold?
And the 2-1 pitch. Cut on and missed. Oh, they got him. Kyron throws down to Caden. They might have him picked off in between the bags. He was about halfway to third in no man's land, but the Wildcats didn't want to risk throwing the ball away. And maybe we can get Peyton to strike out this guy and close out the inning with only 1 run scoring. He's got a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Runner at second, 2 outs, 2-2 pitch. Fouled off the mitt of Kyron Welch, and count remains at 2 balls and 2 strikes. So you're a hunter and a fisherman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like all kinds of hunting, bow hunting.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you do all of that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You said, would you call me yes, sir? Did you? Listen.
My bad.
We had a little conversation before. 2 balls and 2 strikes. You'll never hear Rashawn calling me sir. I can tell you that. 2-2 pitch. Cut on and miss. That's a swinging strikeout, and that is out number 3. So Peyton comes in, shuts the door on the Beavers, and we go to the bottom of the 6th inning in a 4-3 ball game.
Hey, David, I would much rather call you OG than sir. You're a little you're outdated for sir right now.
Let's turn off his mic. We go to the bottom of the sixth inning. 4-3 our score. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back once again to Bobby Hopkins Field. We go to the bottom of the sixth inning. The Wildcats on top of the Karns Beavers, 4-3, first district ball game of the year. Cy Stevens, the left fielder, steps in to lead things off in the sixth. The Wildcats could use some runs. A little insurance. New pitcher grunts as he throws the first pitch. Outside the strike zone, the count is 1 ball and no strikes. Looks like Aiden Franklin is on deck for the Wildcats. That would be Aiden Alexander Franklin on deck for the Wildcats. 1 ball, no strikes the count. 4-3 our score. The Wildcats in the lead. Wildcats batting in the sixth. Wildcats 3 outs away from their first district win. That pitch is hit. Foul territory. Catcher and third baseman struggling. It drops in fair territory, and that'll be a base hit. I mean, the ball was hit so high in the air. Third baseman and the catcher both came. The pitcher came in. Ball just bounced in between them, and the Wildcats have a leadoff single, and the Wildcats will get a runner into the ball game for Cy Stevens. Let's see who that's going to be. Looks like Izzy's going to come in once again. So Ethan can tell you the worst part about being on the crew is doing my tweets, but as you get a little bit more accustomed to the baseball terminology, it's a little easier. I usually just hand it to Ethan. He knows what to do, so especially in basketball. Here comes Alex Franklin to step in for the Wildcats. Izzy is the base runner at first. Alex batting for the first time today. Alex is a senior. Primarily, he's a pitcher. He'll play a little outfield coming off of shoulder surgery in the offseason. But Alex is a good hitter. Just put a line there, and just write Alex's name right there. Alex is going to step in, right-handed hitter. Of course, his brother Jacob Franklin played for the Wildcats for 4 years. Wildcats need some insurance here. They've got good speed at first, and Izzy Mitchell. Let's see if he goes early. Squares to bunt. Here's the throw down. It's going to be bang, bang, but he's in there with a stolen base. So Izzy goes on the first pitch, and he's in scoring position with nobody out here in the sixth. SB. Just behind the second. Stolen base for Izzy. Izzy's run a lot today. He's run for the catcher. He's run for the left fielder, and he'll come in to play left field in the seventh inning. Oh, timeout is asked for a second. Let's see what the problem is. The umpire is wandering back to say something to Izzy, maybe looking at the bag. Might be an issue there. Izzy might have come in and hurt himself making that slide into second base, and that's why Coach Maddox is going over to talk to him along with the umpire. So play is halted just for a second there. The Wildcats on top 4-3. Playing the Mission Impossible music when Izzy might be hurt. Coach Branson has no heart right there. as Wildcats do have an insurance run in scoring position. Alex will step in. He'll be followed by the top of the order in Caden Black. And it has definitely gotten cooler, has it
A
not?
lot cooler.
Cold, I guess might be the word, actually. Wildcats on top 4-3. Alex steps in. He usually swings at the first pitch. He's going to square to bunt. Perfect bunt down the third base line. Double clutch, and he throws the ball away. The Wildcats will score a run. Alex is heading towards second, and he'll stop there. A perfect bunt, and then they throw it over the first baseman's head, and the Wildcats have a run, and they lead it now by a score of 5-3. Perfectly placed bunt. Izzy was heading over towards second. He was there from second to third. He was there easily. Then the third baseman just launched it over the first baseman's head, and the Wildcats are now have the little insurance run. They now lead it by a score of 5-3. That would be, let's see. We can't give him a hit. We'll call it a sacrifice and an E5. Yes. As Caden Black stands in for the Wildcats. Left-handed hitter, the Wildcats with another runner in scoring position. As Caden steps in, Caden had a double. His first plate appearance was hit by a pitch earlier in the ball game. As the Beavers now trail at 5-3, the Wildcats 3 outs away from their first district win. But they'd like to get a few more runs to kind of support Peyton Witter if he comes back in to pitch in the 7th inning.
Hopefully seal the win.
Here's the pitch to Caden. He squares to bunt, and that's going to be a base hit. There's no way in the world they're going to throw out Caden Black. There's no way in the world. Once that ball was perfectly placed down the third base line, as far back as that third baseman was playing, they were not going to get Caden. And the Wildcats have runners on the corners now. Still nobody out here in the 6th inning. Great bunt there by Caden.
Great play.
Now we're going to have, it looks like, another pitching change. The Wildcats just elected to bunt. I mean, that's 3 straight people who've actually tried to put down a bunt. And very successfully, the Wildcats have put a run on the board. See if we're going to get a pitching change here. They might have a little defensive change. As long as they're going to stay back on the infield like that, and as good as the top of the order for the Wildcats are at bunting, and as really the grass looks a little high here. It kind of died once it got out in between the home plate area and the third base. And just a perfect bunt by Caden, a perfect bunt by Alex Franklin as well. And the Wildcats have runners on the corners, nobody out. It'd be good to get a couple more here, Garrett.
Really good, just to try to seal the win, make a lead that would almost be too much for them to come back.
At the conclusion of the ball game, I'll be interviewing the head coach, or maybe we'll just let Garrett interview the head coach of the Wildcats. You can ask him all those complicated baseball questions.
I don't know, man. That'd be a rough one for a first-timer.
The worst person, one of the worst people to interview after a ball game, if you all have lost a game, is Coach Green.
Oh, I'm sure of that one.
I don't look forward to that. I didn't look forward to that Bearden interview the other day either. So he's a competitor. I mean,
oh, yes.
He doesn't like to lose. He even said on the interview, he said, "I'm a terrible loser." And
I could agree with that.
As Wildcats' Mikey Teasley steps in, he takes the ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 5-3. Wildcats in the lead here, trying to win their first district ball game, win their 3rd game of the year. The Wildcats 2-1 on the year. Really big size lead at first for the Wildcats, and he's going. And there's a called strike. It's they weren't going to throw down there as Caden steals second base. And the Wildcats have runners at 2nd and 3rd with nobody out. And Mikey with an opportunity with a base hit to plate a couple runs.
You have a walkie-talkie.
5-3 our score. Here's the pitch to the plate, down low, a ball. Part of the entertainment up here is Avery. I mean, yeah. So, count now is 3 balls and no strikes. Mikey Teasley. Maybe 2 balls and 1 strike, I say. They changed it on the scoreboard. My fault. 2 balls, 1 strike, 2 on, 1 in. The Wildcats in the lead 5-3. The pitch outside. That's ball 3. And the count is 3 balls and 1 strike. Wildcats trying to get a little insurance, as I mentioned. It's been a tight ball game. The Wildcats jumped out to a 3-0 lead, but the Beavers have chipped away at the Wildcats. The Wildcats, a couple of miscues helping their cause. That ball is ripped to the gap. That's going to plate 2 more runs. Wildcats, Mikey,
Come on.
and 2 runs do score. In the score for the Wildcats is Noah Wood, I believe, along with Caden Black. So the Wildcats score with, actually, Warren East. My apologies. Warren East scores, and the Wildcats have that insurance. They're up 7-3 now. Really good job of hitting there by Mikey Teasley.
Really great hit right into the middle of the field where no one was.
Wildcats want to get more here. So Wildcats with a 4-run lead as we get ready to head towards the 7th inning. The Wildcats will bat with Peyton Witter, and that makes his job a little easier if he comes out in the 7th inning. Gives him a little room to make mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully he won't make any mistakes, but he doesn't have to be it's not as pressure as a 1-run lead. So they're going to run again. Here's the throw. It's high, and there's another stolen base. Wildcats all of a sudden running all over the Karns Beavers. The Wildcats have yet another runner in scoring position. That's a stolen base from Mikey Teasley.
So is that an RBI too?
It's 2 RBIs for Mikey. 2 RBI. 7-3 our score. The Wildcats in the lead. Bottom of the 6th inning. There's still nobody out.
Do you still see Rocky talking?
Witter stands in, right-handed hitter.
Talkie is that?
Runner Teasley takes his lead off of second. The pitch. That's a called strike on the outer half of the plate. Count as 1 ball and 1 strike. The game has been well umpired by the 2 umpires today. They've done a really good job. Street lights are coming on, I see, in the city service building. Gary, did you have any trouble finding this place? It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. Did you have any trouble finding this place?
No, I mean, the directions were very key.
Yeah, I mean, Oak Ridge is not exactly New York City, so it's not hard to get around,
Oh, yeah.
honestly. Maybe a little different from Philadelphia, Tennessee, maybe.
Oh, yeah, way different, especially when there's nothing around.
Oh, a pretty breaking pitch. Sweeps across the plate. The count is 1-2. So how many different schools have you gone to, Garrett, in your academic career?
I have went to 3 different schools.
Well, that's not bad.
I went to a small school called Philadelphia Elementary. Then I went to Greenback my 8th grade through sophomore year, and now,
Down at Oak Ridge High School, a little
Yep.
bit bigger.
yeah, a lot bigger.
Ball is hit foul back to the screen by Peyton. And the count is 1-2. Parker Free is on deck for the Wildcats. Wildcats sporting their pinstripes today. They'll eventually wear their Oak Ridge Bombers jerseys at some point. I think the JV might be wearing those today. I think I saw somebody come in with one of those. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That was a cut on a miss, and Peyton goes down swinging. The Bombers are an old Negro League team that played here back in the 50s. And the baseball program has honored them by wearing their jerseys. They were a semi-professional team
Yeah.
that played here. If you notice, well, you don't know much about high school. This is a huge field. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
in fact, if you go to Truist Park in Atlanta, where the Braves play,
Yeah.
it's not even as they're going to get another stolen base, and they're going to get another run because the ball goes sailing into left field, and all the way in to score will come Mikey Teasley. So that is run number 8. And the Wildcats have put another insurance run to lead it 8-3. What I was going to say, it's 3:48 to left field down the line.
Yeah.
In Atlanta, it's 3:30 down the line. So it's bigger than where the Braves play.
Okay.
And this is a big field. It's not as deep in center field as it
Yes.
is in some major league parks. It's 357 out there, but it's like 402, I think, in Atlanta. But it's still a very big high school
yeah.
park. And it was because it was built for a professional baseball team, actually. So
Yeah.
a long time ago, back in the 50s. Little history lesson to somebody who's not familiar with the Oak Ridge history.
Okay.
1 ball, 1 strike, the count. Parker, the batter. Camden Welch is on deck for the Wildcats. Oak Ridge up now 8-3 over the Karns Beavers. Look headed towards their first district win. That breaking pitch is cut on a miss, and the count is 1-2.
If you had got a hold of that. You're going 368.
1 ball, 2 strikes. The freshman back in. And the pitch to the plate. Parker takes the ball outside, and the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. I'm going to do you a little favor here.
Go ahead and get me started.
I'm
on
going
the
to go
next
ahead and
tweet.
get you started. You're a smart one there. Coach Wright is right about you. Right-handed hitter, 2 balls and 2 strikes. The pitch is cut on a miss, and that's a swinging strikeout, and that is the second out here in the 6th inning. Wildcats, the damage might be done to the Beavers here. The Wildcats have put 4 on the board to make it an 8-3 ball game, and the batter now will be Camden Welch. Camden steps in. He's had a really good day for the Wildcats. Kind of a slow start to his sophomore season at the plate, but Wildcats struggled a little bit down in Alabama offensively, but seem to have gotten it going here today. That pitch is hit in the air to left field. The left fielder calls for it, makes the one-handed grab for out number 3. The Wildcats 3 outs away from their first win of the year. We go to the top half of the 7th inning here at Bobby Hopkins. Oak Ridge on top of Karns, 8-3, and we'll be back in a moment. Welcome back once again to Bobby Hopkins Field. We go to the top of the 7th inning. The Wildcats trying to win their first district ball game of the year against the Karns Beavers. They'll play Karns again tomorrow at Karns. 5:30 will be the first pitch. You think it's cold today. It's going to be even colder tomorrow.
Most definitely.
At Karns. And then the Wildcats have Bearden and Marable closing out the end of the week here. We'll also have our Covering the Bases show on Wednesday night. That'll be live at the studio this week. We had Pizza Inn last week, but we'll be at the studio on Wednesday. Peyton Witter tried to save the ball game from Mikey Teasley, and his first pitch is in there for a called strike. Mikey pitched a hitless, game while he was in there. Struck out 8 Beavers. 1 strike pitch. That's strike 2 at the belt, and the count is 0-2. Those runs are huge for the Wildcats in the bottom of the 6th.
Especially Mikey's double play. Well, his single, but he got 2 runs out of it, so.
Pitch to the plate is cut on a miss, and that is a strikeout for Peyton Witter. And the Wildcats 2 outs away from victory over the Karns Beavers. Who's batting now for the Beavers?
Number 1, Connor Clark.
He'll step in. The Wildcats in the lead 8-3 in a chilly night here in Oak Ridge. What has been what I consider to be kind of a longer game. It's past 8 o'clock. Usually they don't last this long, to be honest with you. Usually they're under 2 hours most of the time. So, but as long as the Wildcats get a win, we're good.
That's all that matters.
Here's the pitch to the plate, outside corner for a called strike.
We'll take the call.
I think he's getting cold and he wants to go home.
I think he's getting cold.
No balls and 2 strikes, 1 out, nobody aboard. The Wildcats up 8-3. Coach Free will join us, and let's see. We might interview. I don't know. Who should we interview, Fashawn? Who should we interview, player-wise? Yeah, today. I mean, after the game. Mikey, Peyton. Mikey and Peyton. Mikey and Peyton. Let's do that. As that pitch is a ball. Count is 1 ball and 2 strikes. We got 1 out here in the 7th inning. Coach Free will be joining us as well. Maybe James can hang around a little bit longer to help me with the interview process. Or, Bashan, you know what to do there. We'll drop the mic down there. Yeah, Bashan says no. He goes to the beach and he becomes like, Mr. Unagreeable person.
Mr.
Just
Him.
kidding. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The pitch, that's high. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Appreciate you watching our broadcast today on our YouTube channel, Prep Radio. Well, some people did brave the cold. The wind, it's the wind, really, that hasn't really stopped since we've gotten here. And I'm looking at the American flag here to my left here, and it's just flapping the whole time.
It's blowing right towards us.
Yes, exactly. It doesn't usually, like James and I were saying, it doesn't usually come this way. It usually blows out. There's ball 4, and they've got a base runner here in the 7th inning, Peyton Witter. The Wildcats' 3rd pitcher used today. The Wildcats started, as I mentioned, with Mikey Teasley, and we'll hope to interview Mikey after the ball game. Depends on how long Coach Free will talk to him down there. Sometimes we don't get a chance on a cold night like this. Hopefully he won't keep him too long. We'll talk to Peyton as well if he can close things out. Here's the pitch to the plate. Cut on and missed. So I don't know if you marked it when Peyton came in, but how many strikeouts does he have?
Peyton, he has 4 strikeouts.
4 strikeouts. Mikey had 8, and Cy, I believe, had 1, perhaps.
I don't think so.
That 1 strikeout to close out that inning.
Oh, yes, he did have that.
That pitch is a called strike, and the count is 0-2. So does that give Peyton 3 or Cy?
Cy has 1, and Peyton has 1, 2, 3. Peyton has 4. Cy had 1.
Okay, good. Hey, Garrett was right on it. And the runner is going. The pitch is a ball. Here's a throw down. He's out. He is out by a mile. That is the 2nd out here in the 7th inning. And it is out number 2. So the Beavers are down perhaps to their last strike of this game. He's behind in the count, no balls and 2 strikes. I don't see the advantage of stealing right there. I mean,
not at all.
Because that runs them out of the potential.
Maybe just they call it desperation.
Oh boy, that looked pretty good. What?
2 to 4.
What's that?
2 to 4.
Yes.
Perfect.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Wildcats on top 8-3, headed for a victory here tonight over the Karns Beavers. Peyton's going to close it out right now.
There.
Strike 3 swinging, and that is the 3rd out, and that is the final out. The Wildcats have defeated the Karns Beavers by a final score of 8-3. Once again, really, really good pitching performances by all 3 pitchers today. Mikey Teasley throwing in the lower 90s, struck out 8. Didn't allow a hit while he was in. Cy Stevens came in a tough situation, had a runner at second base, hit a batter, then struck out a guy to close out his inning. Came in, gave up a little bit, then Peyton Witter was just lights out when he came into the game. See ya. Coach David Scott watching our broadcast. So we appreciate everybody who watches our games. The 2 teams are shaking hands. Garrett, your initial thoughts watching your first Oak Ridge High School baseball game?
It's definitely a team that has a lot of depth in the pitcher position for sure. I mean, definitely a really solid team, and they're also very young in some areas.
There's a lot of sophomores and freshmen getting a lot of starting time.
And that's very good for the future of the baseball program.
Most definitely.
They look like a very good competitive team.
And the good news is the Wildcats are 1-0 in the district and I think what I liked about it, really obviously the pitching, what I liked about it is the Wildcats put that extra runs on the board there to make it a lot easier for Peyton.
Sealed the game before it even needed to happen.
So here comes your favorite job. You're going to do this final tweet here, but it's always a good tweet when the Wildcats win. We're going to take a break here. We will have hopefully Mikey Teasley joining us. Hopefully we'll have Peyton Witter and Coach Travis Free, the head coach of the Wildcats. Oak Ridge wins it by a final score of 8-3. Stay with us for our post game as the Wildcats win it 8-3 over Karns. We'll be back. We're going to turn down the mic. We'll be back in a moment.
Let's see, where do we put?
You want to go track down Mikey and Peyton? Yeah. Hey, Sean. Wander down there. I'm going to drop this down. I just seen Garrett, but he probably didn't know. No. He's coming. He's coming over. Thank you, though. Okay. No, I'll do it. But I just need if you can track Coach Free down, Peyton, and Mike. Welcome back once again to Bobby Hopkins Field, where the Oak Ridge Wildcats have just defeated the Karns Beavers to win their first district ball game. The Wildcats are now 3-2 on the year. The Wildcats were waiting to do our player interviews. There is a junior varsity ball game which will take place here in a few short moments. The two teams are warming up down below. Garrett Giles has been with us the entire night tonight. We had Ethan Eubanks with us. Fashawn is tracking down our interviews as we speak. And here in a few moments, we'll get our first player interview of the year, actually, on the air anyway. interviewed them at the Pizza Inn a couple of Wednesdays ago in our first television show. We'll get a chance to talk to the victorious pitcher, hopefully Mikey Teasley, and Peyton Witter, the transfer. Good, got the save today, and hopefully we'll get a chance to speak to them. Wildcats had a really fine first inning. The Wildcats were able to get, I believe, 3 doubles in that inning. The Wildcat pitcher, Mikey Teasley, did not allow a hit while he was in there. He struck out 8, was relieved by Cy Stevens. The pitching was good all night. In fact, the Beavers scored most of their runs either on errors or other plays such as that. Wild pitches kind of hurt them as well, as we're waiting to speak to our first players here as the crew is tearing down the press box here, but we're waiting to do our post game and waiting for them to wander our way. And I'm just filling time here. The Wildcats had big hitting performances tonight. I mentioned the 3 doubles, and we also as well had a big double by Mikey Teasley. Single by Mikey Teasley, scored 2. The Wildcats scoring 4 insurance runs. They scored 2 in the first inning, 1 in the second inning, 1 in the fourth to take a 4-2 lead. The Beavers scored their 2 runs in the third inning and 1 in the sixth. But the Wildcats hold on and win the ball game by a score of 8-3. Still waiting. Right there is fine. Let me get. We'll speak to, let's take a step back there. Caden Black will be our first guy, and I think we got Caden with us here. He is the shortstop for the Wildcats, 4-year starter. Caden, good start for your home season, good start to your district. Talk about this win tonight.
It's important to us. District, first home district game. First home game of the season. You know, it's always important to come out with a hot start.
You know, one of the best parts about it, your pitching was absolutely fantastic. I mean, Mikey, I think he struck out 8, didn't give up a hit at all. I think the runs were unearned. The first 2 were unearned. Cy came in, got a big strikeout, and then Peyton just shut the door down. Talk about the pitching tonight.
We have a lot. We're deep pitching staff, and it's crazy how like effective they can be. But you know, they just bring the heat every single time.
A little bit colder than it was down in Alabama, is it not?
Oh, of course. It was beautiful down in Alabama, but come right back up here is.
You come back here and it's freezing cold. Yeah. Talk about what it means to start your district schedule with a win.
It's important. Like momentum. Everybody in sports talk about momentum. Like momentum is what you need to keep winning baseball games.
Okay, and I think you got it started with that double. I mean, there was 3 doubles in that inning.
Yeah.
And it's always good to get that first run. And I know you love to run the bases. You had several stolen bases, and you love to start games. And you're back in your familiar position at the leadoff position. Are you more comfortable at that position?
The what?
More comfortable at the leadoff position?
Oh, yeah, for sure. You know, I've always been leadoff besides freshman year, but, you know, I'm just accustomed to it.
Okay, good luck the rest of the way, and thanks for joining us here. Let's see who's next. I'd have, let's see, let's get Mikey in here. Appreciate Bashan doing the camera work. We'll get him in there. So, Mike's take a step back just a little bit back, and we'll get Bashan get in the picture. You got your first win today of the season, I guess. I'm trying to think back to Alabama if you got a win there.
Yeah, I did.
You did. So your second win, but your first home win. Didn't give up a hit while you were in there. Threw about 80 pitches, struck out 8. Talk about your performance tonight.
I think it was good for me pitching-wise. I was in the zone when I had my tempo right, and then I just trusted my team to get hits for me. And then, yeah, it just went from there.
You were averaging in the low 90s with your pitches most of the night. On a cold night, is that difficult? Did you feel the cold much? I know you guys just came back from the beach, so it had to be kind of miserable out there. Does it affect you at all when it's cold?
I mean, yeah, kind of, but, like, at the same time, I've been up to 94, so, like, it's just something I got to power through. Like, I can't let the weather change how I throw the ball.
You know, last year you had a lot of hitters. I think in the first 4 games you all kind of struggled a little bit offensively. I mean, your pitching's been great all year, all of you all. But tonight the bats came alive, and you in particular had a big insurance single scored a couple runs there at the end. Talk about the offense as you head towards tomorrow's game against Karns.
We just got to keep the same approach. We had good BP today, and it was just discipline, and that's what we got to do tomorrow. That way we can come out and hit hopefully better tomorrow than we did today.
Mikey, I appreciate it, and good luck, and congratulations on the win.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Let's get Peyton Witter over here. Peyton came in relief. He was the third pitcher that pitched today. Peyton, first off, talk about your performance. You came in relief of Cy, who came in relief of Mikey. Talk about your performance on the mound tonight.
I feel like I did a good job of staying around the plate. I knew when I was in the bullpen, I was dropping my arm slot a little lower than I normally do, and it's a problem I tend to have. And it's like I spent as much time as I could in there to fix it. And I had it zoned in by the time I got on the mound and threw as many strikes as I could.
I'm kind of curious, will you be a starter at sometimes, or are you going to be a relief guy?
I'm normally, right now, their plan for me is to relief during district games, then probably start a Thursday, Friday game. But, it'll change throughout the season.
How important is it to get ahead in the district race to win that first ball game? How important is it to get that first district win?
Oh, well, not only is it making a statement during regular season, but also it's when you get to the district tournament, it's saving a lot of pitching and a lot of arms. It'll help you down the stretch.
How tough is it to come in relief as a relief pitcher in a tight situation? There before you got those extra runs for you, and I know that may had to make you relax there at the end to get those extra runs. How nerve-wracking is it to come in relief in a tight ball game?
I guess it can be nerve-wracking, but it's almost sometimes when you step on the mound, you're not thinking about anything but you and the hitter, and it's a good feeling to have because you're not letting everything around you bother you, and it's just you and the hitter at the end of the day.
Peyton, good luck congratulations tonight, and good luck tomorrow against Karns.
Thank you.
It's Peyton Witter. He got the save tonight. Now we've got the head coach of the Wildcats, Coach Travis Freed. And Coach, first off, congratulations. Like I just told Peyton, it's always good to start the district with a win.
Never take winning for granted, that's for sure, David. I mean, we have to celebrate winning. It's hard. It's hard in this league. It's hard every single day in high school baseball. It's just hard to win.
Coach, one thing I noticed when you were at Alabama in the Gibbs ball game, your offense is kind of lagging a little bit behind your pitching. Your pitching has been stellar in almost every ball game this year. Tonight, Mikey was just on it. I mean, his control a little bit off, but it's a cold night. It's cold. Cy came in, did his deal, and then Peyton just shut the door down. Talk about your pitching tonight.
Well, we're struggling on offenses to be common with almost any high school team in the first week of the season. We face some really, really good arms. Let's be honest, like down in Alabama, we face 2+ arms, all in the mid to upper 80s. It takes time to get that under your belt. And in the preseason, maybe Coach Free didn't do the greatest job getting us scheduled up and getting the best arms that we had to face. So now we're finding our way as we get going there a little bit on offense. We're also younger than people want to give us credit for. We're really young and youthful in a lot of spots, and so there's pressure on them. There's pressure on them to perform, and they've got to figure that out. However, we're built around our defense and built around our pitching staff, and our pitching staff has been phenomenal to this point. Every outing has been really good. I feel like we've had one C-level performance on the year, but everything else has been plus. Everybody's been great, and it has depth. It has different viewpoints, and Peyton came in there, then just kind of does what he does, man. He's just a dog. He just kind of finds a way to get us out of games.
One thing in this ball game, really, I mean, some wild pitches, some errors, really, that's how they scored their runs for the most part.
Yeah. Well, I think they scored 2 runs and didn't have a hit. I think the first hit we gave up was the triple down the line. So we gave too many free passes. But, I mean, I'm going to be honest, David, I'm sitting down here shivering right now. It's a hard night to play baseball. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to stay in it as long as you did, and it takes tough teams to be able to play in this stuff.
Especially when you've been at the beach to come back here and it's
the beach. It was warmer here in Oak Ridge than it was at the beach. I swear it was 77 degrees when we got back.
Yeah, but it's pretty cold right now.
It is cold. It is cold tonight, man. And the wind is blowing. So I mean, for us to pitch as well as we did is great, and for offensively, it's one of those nights you just kind of dig deep and find a way.
I'll ask you a couple more questions here. How important were those insurance runs there in the 6th inning?
Well, it's really important because every game I seem like we played, I mean, even coming back from Alabama, I mean, let's be honest. Let's go. Friday night, it was 2-2. Then we won the game when we got to Alabama, 2-1. Then we played a game that we kind of scored one inning, that we scored a bunch of runs. Then the next night was 3-2. Like every game we played has been one run, and so we've kind of been built around that a little bit. But that's just pitching and defense is there. But it was nice to add some runs and give us a little bit of padding there at the end.
Got Karns again tomorrow. Who's going on the mound for you tomorrow?
Not 100% sure, but obviously Cheeto and John will both be teeing it up tomorrow night in some capacity for sure tomorrow.
Coach, just your final comments on this win tonight.
Like I said, to begin the thing, it's always good to win. Like, always celebrate winning and never take winning for granted. So I'm glad that we performed well.
Coach, thanks a lot. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yep, thank you. And bring some warmer weather.
I think it's going to be colder tomorrow, actually. That's Coach Travis Free, head coach of the Wildcats. Let's get Garrett up here real quick for his final comments. Come on back up here. We'll pull the mic there, if you would, there, Vashawn. Help our 6'6" junior with that microphone. He's going to pull it up, and we'll have him in here in a second. Wildcats win tonight. 8-3 is the final score. The Wildcats beat the Karns Beavers to go 1-0 in the district. Junior varsity Wildcats are getting ready to start things off as well. Vashawn, you're up here. Your final comments on the win. It's a cold night here, and like Coach Free said, it's hard to play baseball when it's cold.
Yeah, I just think overall it's a good team game. I feel like in the end the offense came and showed up a lot more than they did earlier, like that last the sixth inning. But I think pitching all around, as you said, it was really good, and just got to improve on the little things, and they'll get better.
Garrett, your final comments?
I mean, just like Coach Free said, I mean, a win's always a good thing to have, and they can't take it for granted. But good team win. I mean, the pitching really showed this game. I mean, the depth that they have with that, and they had a ton of great plays just from a lot of players all around. So, just a good team win.
Well, guys, I appreciate it. It's cold. Let's get out of here. Appreciate Coach Branson for helping us out here, and obviously, thank you to Avery for being up here and keeping us all entertained tonight. Appreciate Ethan Eubanks, who showed up for no apparent reason, but it was good to have him in here, along with Vashawn and Garrett. This is David Clare. Our next broadcast will be tomorrow. The Wildcats taking on Karns, 5:30 at Karns. We'll have the game on our YouTube channel, Prep Radio. Until then, this is David Clary. Final score once again, the Wildcats win it by a score of 8-3. And we'll see you tomorrow. So long, everybody.